effect as we do get straight into the pistol. Alex Ying picking up the smoke and defuse kit for the XOP, oh, hello, MBT side, the graphic the wrong way around, and we will get smokes and flashbangs onto Hamad. Let's see what they can do with this XOP.
All right, on to Dust 2. It is Malaysia versus Mongolia here in this matchup on the first map.
Nice.
Slow start.
Yeah,
good though, very controlled.
Slow.
Up catwalk. You've got 2 going.
The early smoke used just to block off that mid information. You can see Alex Ying and CMY playing very passively on that A-bomb site, not getting aggressive on the peaks, and that's going to allow the T side to walk on in here. Ice looking for the opening contact, and the head exposed, and CMY will be taken down. Melody actually getting it from long, and Japan only able to find one as Ice trades out the teammates, and this is not looking good at all. The dink onto Japan down to just 11 points of health. Can they make this one happen? MBT almost catching the bomb onto its site, but Ohmad playing well around that goose area to cover it.
Oh, yes, indeed. On this pistol round, it started slow, but it definitely heated right on up, and that's going to be Ayumi taken down, as well as funny. That means that first pistol round will go the way of XOP.
And again, Ice showing up as expected. XOP, a bit of a star player for them, and finding herself 3 kills in the pistol round, exactly how you want to get your game started. Start to feel that aim almost immediately. And the buy is not going to be good at all if they even opt to get anything here, MBT. They don't have a lot of cash in the bank. Could you see Japan perhaps picking up a Deagle or some other upgraded pistol, but it looks like it's just going to be a P250 onto CMY. No real significant buy for the CT side as 4 MAC-10s picked up by XOP. They are looking to farm the cash here.
Oh, yeah, they are. And Oya is going to be the only one rocking on that AK-47. And we're underway. The rush B bomb site, in effect, trying to clear it out before they get the plant play, and it's just sprays across the board here. Already finding Ayumi on 1. Molotov thrown at window.
And that's really good use of the utility as well. Not just getting too crazy on the rush, locking the CTs out, and now as MBT try and get in with the default pistols.
Spray.
A triple for Nani on that MAC-10, and really is just farming cash as Metallee's going to get one as well. And this is exactly what you want with the MAC-10s from XOP. They know the money's not there. They know that MBT didn't get the kills as Nani just cleans up 4th for her, and that's really going to start to boost the economy on the T side, give them the ability to buy into multiple rounds. As you'll see, 6.5K on Nani. That is absolutely huge as the CTs.
That's a lot for a 3rd round.
That's a ridiculous amount for a 3rd round.
And they're going to hang on to him, it looks like, for the time being, unless they buy in the next couple of seconds. Lightning fast. A couple of rounds here for XOP coming through.
Yeah, a lightning fast start. And interestingly, MBT haven't bought. They had the money. They could have picked up rifles and armor, but instead they've opted to go for P250s and a couple of nades, and that is going to make it very awkward out towards long. Metallee,
oh boy,
just mowing them down again. The MAC-10's far too effective against that kind of a buy as Ayumi left alone on that B-bomb site, a lonely figure.
Not much you can do as Ayumi. We've talked about this being the star player for MBT, but they really just haven't been able to play Counter-Strike yet. We need to see them actually be able to get a buy up.
Yeah, that was all too easy. I'm almost confused as to why we didn't see the buy coming in from the CT side. Clearly, they want to pick up some more utility before they do go for the full buy, but in this situation, what you've done is you've gifted so much economy to XOP because they just stuck it through with the MAC-10s. Perhaps MBT were hoping they'd upgrade to AKs and the kill reward isn't so great, but we're going to see some serious cash for XOP here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's see when the buys come through. That is going to be a lot. And, of course, AUG's being purchased by MBT in mass right now. At least 3 of them. And Op comes in as well for CMY.
And a fully upgraded setup from XOP. Of course, having had such success for 2 rounds with those MAC-10s, they don't need to worry about the costs upgrading onto those AKs. You can see most people on about 4K, as we will see the Krieg coming out as well. Early spam through the door. Not going to connect for too much, as it's a much more default setup early on from XOP. Just playing both sides of the map, trying to get a little bit of information.
Looks like they're trying to control as much as they can through mid right here. It's a big split out from MBT, defaulting on both A and B site. But it looks like the play is going to be towards A. This is where the bomb's headed.
And they are taking short control through Oi. They've got that area of the map fairly well locked down. You can see CMY playing very passively with the AWP. Nuke could put it up by Kenny, but instead opting for the goose angle, and it will work for a nice entry frag. MBT not expecting that position whatsoever, and now they've got to try and work the utility, and indeed they will. The smoke will cut CMY's angle off and force her a little bit wider, or to completely hide in towards that goose position. It looks like she's going to go wide on the peak, try and give herself some room to work, but 4v5, this is looking good so far.
First number advantage.
Unless Nani, all the timing.
Scoped up. Yes, indeed. And now they're heading up through short. In mass, flashes out, and CMY just does not have enough bullets in the cartridge to make it happen. Still, though, XOP are paying for this dearly. Melioli down to 17 health.
Yeah, and she's instantly grabbed the AWP of the CT side. She knows she's low and she needs to hit the shot that will kill. So AWP, 2 AWPs and an AK-47 are going to make this A-site retake a little bit difficult. There is tags to work with, but holding very passively. Melody will get it, and then ice mopping up and one.
Ayumi, though, look at that. All of a sudden, you got a 2v1, and it ends up going XOP just barely.
Melody with the perfect nade placement. You cannot argue with that. That was quite something, actually, from XOP. It looked like they had that site absolutely locked down, but Ayumi from MBT, she shows up big time, not quite able to do it.
That's why you talk about her being the clutch player for the team. Nearly clutched it 1v3, but another round goes the way of extra overpowered.
Yeah, and that, I mean, you can argue luck with that nade, but it's such a predicted one. They know she's CT, they know she's tagged up heavy, so out goes the nade and secures the round as Nani looking for the tag once more. Not going to find it. Still a fairly strong full buy across that MBT side. Just the one MP9 for CMY. Otherwise, everybody's got everything they'd ever want for Christmas.
Well, a little early for Christmas in my book, but I'll take it in June any day of the year, Wolfie. As you see, a bit of a holdout here. Slow moves in for XOP. Already got 4 rounds. They want to keep this momentum rolling.
Nani on the AWP could get a peek here if she looks to hold that middle angle down. You can see Funny just shoulder peeking the angle as the pop flash will come in for short. And again, MBT very passive on it. CMY backing off as Japan will find the early pick onto ice in towards mid, and that's the star player down. This is where things could start to get a little bit awkward. CMY playing very passively for an MP9.
Waiting for the smoke to come through. Looks like the commit. It's going to be a fake onto A as they move the bomb towards mid instead. Ah, there we go. CMY getting the shot from above. Taking down Oya. They move to B. Bomb's dropped. Meanwhile, though, oh dear, it's just down to Meloli on 1 health, and not anymore. Now Yesungu.
1 versus 3. Creep to work with, so potential on these ranged engagements, but you can see MBT, they're setting themselves up. Looking the wrong way. CMY will take a tag, but that gives away the position, and LX Ying, the AWP in hand, will find the shot. Get MBT on the board. First round for them, and not at an insignificant cost. Japan and Fanny falling. And things could get a little bit awkward here because there will be a decent amount of money available on XOP. The early buy coming in onto Oyamud and Meloli. Looks like the AWP going to come out as well onto Nani. Mac 10 again for you.
Just once again, trying to stack the cash. And it feels like XOP, they play a bit of a greedy economy game, but, you know, it's been working for them so far, 4-1.
Double AWP setup actually coming out by the CT side as well.
That's
LX Ying
expensive.
and CMY. Heavy investment into this one. And
that was the peak. Nani. Oh, boy.
You can see they want to contest this middle position. They've actually put an AWP on either bomb site here. You can see LX Ying aggressive towards short and CMY playing... Oh, no, he's playing towards long as well. Okay, so both AWPs towards the A bomb site. I thought they'd split the sites. That's a little bit of an interesting call.
Yeah. Decision-making. Really hard to tell what the players are thinking at the moment. Bomb's really hanging back here over at top mid. And it's just a slow fan out from XOP. They're waiting for picks.
A nice shoulder peek does force LX off the angle, gives a little bit of room for XOP to breathe as they are again going to head towards this short area. It's been a consistent point of exploitation for the T side as they are just going to queue up. And they know CMY played with the AWP in towards Goose. Will they expect LX Ying in the exact same position is the question. Smoke goes a little bit too deep.
Just past A stairs. Let's see if they're going to be able to get up here. LX Ying. Oh. Getting that peak, and it is just enough damage, but Nani turns it around. 4v4. Oh, CMY's lit, down to 6.
Couldn't quite hit the shot there, and that forces her back off the angle as the rotations are being picked off. Finally, Funny will find one back, so 3v2. CT side very limited in terms of their utility and their potential in this. Ayumi's going to walk right into the crosshair of Nani if she starts to peek that CT angle, and that's going to make things a little bit too awkward, but she perfectly dodges it. Now there's potential. She starts to creep up onto the site.
Yeah, got to be careful with this peak, though. The smoke's not going to last forever. Take advantage of it while you can. Looking for Nani, maybe looking for Yesungu. Actually turns around a little bit late, doesn't manage to find the finish, and it's down to Funny here. Looking for Nani and Yesungu, trying to get that defuse off. You need to be able to get this execution. Finishing one, it's a 1v1, and that's going to be XOP taking a 5th round.
not quite able to cling on to it. MBT, a little bit of an unfortunate one, not getting that spray quite under control on the M4. Got to wonder if it was a switch off of that AUG after the meta change, but XOP starting to re-stretch their lead. Of course, the reset no longer an issue, but economy not going to be amazing for the CT side here. And they've got some decisions to make. Of course, it is the pick of XOP, and they are looking good so far on the T side.
Oh, they certainly are. And you mentioned whoever was going to be on T would want to get off to a rolling start. Well, that's certainly been the case for XOP. Remember, this was their map pick. They're feeling confident that they can take Dust 2. MBT, going to try and stop them here. Another spread out. In fact, it's a very aggressive push here over by Long Doors from MBT. Trying to stop a take on Long, but they've always been going over Cat instead, overlooked short.
Yeah, and the half-buy does sort of force these aggressions. You don't have that kind of firepower. You're down to your P250s, your 5.7s, and your Deagles. You have to try and get aggressive, try and be proactive. And an SMG coming out onto ice, an MP7, that is not an SMG you see every day of the week. But
I was about to say, this has been a day for interesting guns. No P90s this round just yet, but...
yeah, a lot of unusual weapons being picked up, perhaps just an indication of how the meta's a little bit different in these sort of events, as it looks like XOP are grouping towards this B-bomb site, and they could run into some trouble. Funny and Ayumi here with a 5.7 and a P250 to do as much damage as they can as the execute is being lined up. You can see the nades and the utility about to be thrown, and they are going to execute in towards B.
This would be great for MBT if they could actually start knocking them down here. Nades coming out ahead of the time, and they turn around onto Funny, who manages to get at least one before getting tagged up. Ayumi's going to fall as well. Here's the number advantage once again, but it should mean a pretty easy plant here as a scramble comes in from MBT to try and close this gap.
Yet again, Melody coming up huge. Currently 12 kills in this game after just 6 rounds. Absolutely popping off.
That's 2 per round. What insane play here as CMY is going to get dropped down again, this time by Nanny. And now it's just down to Ying as Japan gets caught.
And I mean, in this situation, there is nothing that you can do. You've got a Deagle, you're outside the doors, it's just damage. And we'll find a good couple of tags. The bomb's
nearly
not
got
go
Melody.
Off. Very close, and if the bomb had gone off, would have been absolutely done for. But the time is there for XOP to escape the bomb site successfully. 6-1 the scoreline, and they are putting up quite some showing on the T side of D2.
Yeah, this has definitely been, out of all the rounds we've seen so far today, this is probably the most dominant form for any team.
The most orcs we've seen as well.
Big AUG buy.
So let's see what the meta does to this.
Dare we say we see the standard Counter-Strike that I've heard exists in other tournaments. Whoa! Half health Ayumi on the scope from Nanny.
And it is the fully scoped buy from the CT side. Ying with the AWP, 4 AUGs in support. This was all too common recently, but with that nerf of the AUG, it's going to be really interesting to see how this round pans out. You can see Krieg picked up by Yi Sung-gu. Not seen that too much in the professional level, but it is a very viable weapon with its new 2,750 price tag. And they are again going to take short control XOP. This really hasn't been contested at all by MBT. They just haven't looked to even pressure the short area, and perhaps that's where these rounds are starting to fall apart. As again, the short take comes in. They've got the bomb out towards Long. If they can isolate the fights with CMY and Ying here, someone's got to go huge for MBT.
Yeah, Ying needs to start lining up these shots at the moment. There is a rotation from Japan actually coming around to it, but no, that's kind of just scouting to see if anyone's checking between. They're going to be keeping eyes on mid, but nobody's there. XOP have their sights firmly set on A2, just outside of short. The rest all at long. Here comes the Molotov.
Perfectly timed as well. The T side looked like they were just starting to think about that execute, and the Molotov buys a little bit of time. Ying playing a slightly different angle with the AWP is how you want to play it, as again, Japan's going to line up another Molotov. That one's going to fall a little bit too late as XOP do take long control. Ying gets the first.
Ying's got 2. Yesengu is able to get at least 1 down. Ying will fall as well. That's the Opper, and it looks like the execution coming through for XOP, but it's a 3v3 situation. You just need to get your placement in, and Ayumi finds one through the smoke, looking for a second. That's it. Oh, my word. Talk about cleaning it up.
And that boost onto the site, absolutely essential. Getting Ayumi up on site through elevator allows her to get those frags, and then tapping away with the AUG, respecting the change that was very recently implemented. And it works absolutely perfectly. Triple kill from her out from long. Absolutely shuts down the execute from XOP before they can get anywhere near the site and stops the bomb going down.
It's not easy to execute that well when you're talking about a gun that just received some changes. Keeping your head in that moment and not falling back onto old muscle memory, that shows that there's some real skill there on the MBT side, especially with just recently changed Counter-Strike.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're going to see the half-buy coming in from XOP, Deagles, CZs, and they are a lot more viable on T than CT side. They give you the potential for the rushes, just overwhelm the rifles, as you'll see Japan just jump peeking top and mid, looking for any kind of information that she can procure. Not going to be finding anything in particular, and it looks like the mid-execute will flash fully blinded. Japan falls back off the angle as the mid-execute starts to come through. This looks like a mid-B split in the making.
Looks like it. That's going to be one getting lit up. Funny does fall as well, but Yusungu and Nani also already down, and it's evened out with Japan getting taken down. And in the back corner, Ayumi is just absolutely cleaning up once again here. This is going to be a tough take for XOP.
Yeah, her issue is she knows she hasn't got support, and she has to cover mid, and then head ripped off by Umud. And now it's a 2v2. The bomb goes down on B. The firepower advantage very much with the CT side, but Ling takes an early tag, and this is looking awkward.
Oh, taking down Oyamud right now, and that's going to be just enough. Even with the bomb planted down, that's just going to be a pittance compared to taking the round. And MBT, they're starting to come back into this.
Looked a little bit awkward with those Deagles taking the site, and they'll surely be worried that it was that expensive given how little the investment was from XOP. But just getting the round is, of course, important for the CT side, as we will see another buy coming in from XOP. Of course, that was the pistol, so they're going to get the AWP out, the Krieg out, and the AK-47s, as it looks like the CT side sticking with the single AWP setup, as Ayumi is going to drop down onto the M4A4. Missed a spray with that one earlier, did a lot more work with the AUG, so an interesting call.
Ayumi has been able to find more purchase than the rest of her team. That being said, MBT still have some work to do, make up for. Shot taken a little bit too late here. Pop flashes up, and it looks like the focus is once again on a short, but there's always an opportunity to mix things up here as they move into mid.
Yeah, and Japan is actually holding a lot more aggressively into mid than we saw in the previous rounds, giving herself some room to maneuver on that short hold. Does leave her a little bit isolated on this mid pick, and you can see, just aware of that fact, spends a little bit of time on short, then backs off, pop flashes herself in, and blinds a good few players, but again, not quite able to take advantage, as the shoulder peak will spot out the AWP, and there's a little bit of room for work here from XOP. Again, they have short.
Going through into tunnels, but didn't expect the shot coming up just like that. Ice and Melody are going to be able to find two. This is going to be the rush in for XOP. They know we have the numbers.
And they're just going to walk right into Ayumi here. She has to go absolutely huge. Gets an early tag of damage, getting some good spray down. Finds the first, gets a tag onto the second, but meanwhile her teammates are falling all around, and CMY, left alone 1 versus 4, has to try and save that rifle. There is not enough cash left on the CT side to be committing to an execute 1 versus 4. And that's going to allow the T side as well to save a good amount of utility into the next round. You can see Molotovs, flashbangs, and HEs across that T side. So they're going to start to build themselves up some cash, and it's going to start to get a little bit awkward for MBT.
Oh, yeah. Man, Melody, 15 kills right now in these 9 rounds. Really coming up huge and clinging to survival. That's not the first time we've seen her lit down to 10 HP or so.
Clearly very comfortable with the AWP, hitting a lot of shots whenever she goes down to that low HP. Just grabs the AWP, knows that that's a 1 shot to kill, so there's a lot of room to work, and indeed she finds herself a double kill in this round. They are looking to hunt CMY a little bit, but not going to overcommit. A fairly intelligent decision, as Omid is going to walk into the crosshairs here. The AUG spray betrays her though, and she does fall. Just 10 points of health. The frag is found, and 7-3 the scoreline. That saved AUG could have been absolutely crucial here. You can see not enough cash to really get a decent full buyout on the CT side. Ying has the money, but the rest of the team not quite on the same level. So it's going to be pistols once again for the CT side to try and do as much damage as they can. Try and keep that economy in check for XOP, who are looking rampant on the T side of D2.
Just want to pick up as many rounds as they can and really slow down this momentum before the half. Only 3 to their name on the MBT side. We'll see where they rotate towards. It looks like it's pretty heavy commitment to B. Oh, 1 in mid. Japan's already down to half health, though.
Takes a good tag as well. The early presence, of course, with these pistols, you know you've got to get aggressive, and you've got to play weird angles. As we see Ling on a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be rough.
This is going to be close. It's the timing, and she'll find it as well.
And you'll be able to pick... Nope, not close enough to actually be able to pick up that rifle, but they do have the kill. This is crucial here for MBT.
Get yourselves the man advantage, and then you can see XOP start to get a little bit fidgety. They know they're a man down, and they know they can be overwhelmed in multiple positions with pistols. So got to be very, very careful now, the Mongolian side, how they look to execute out this plan. How are they going to make this play work?
Nice with the careful movements. Saw her get off to a flying start, but often been one of the players eliminated a little earlier. As you can see, Ying not finding the purchase she wanted, taking damage instead, has to move back. Yusungu taken out by CMY, did not even expect her there on the rotation. And MBT have a real chance to do something here in this pistol round, managing to pick up one rifle.
And this is the exact pistol aggression that XOP would have been aware of, as Nani does shut down the Krieg, and that's the rifle that was recovered down now. So 4 versus 3, and the CT is actually starting to stream out of that B bomb site in towards middle, and that's a little bit of a misread, so they are going to make their way back towards B as the execute comes in from XOP.
Here's Ayumi once again. Kind of the ever-present guardian of B, it seems, on the CT side. And let's see if they can actually manage the outplay. Still a number advantage for them, but it doesn't mean much when you're talking about rifles getting flushed out by the Molotov through the window. And it's just going to be down to Ying.
It looked like for a moment there, if MBT denied the bomb plant, things could have got seriously interesting. But XOP, they mop up the rest. They make it work. 5 versus 3 for MBT, but they're not quite able to find it with the pistols they had. A little bit unfortunate, as we will see the first pause coming in, as there is a good amount of cash for the full investment from MBT, but XOP have built themselves up a solid lead here on Dust 2.
That seems to be the game plan for them most of the time. Always going a little bit greedy if you can, trying to stack up as much cash so that if you do fall into a deficit of rounds, you can come back through it. And it has suited them well so far, as you mentioned. Really good lead for them on this T side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've just been hitting their shots. They've been showing us what they can do in a LAN environment, and that's absolutely key, of course. First opportunity for them to really show what they can do, and so far they have. The timeout coming in from MBT, got to be thinking about how they can recover the CT side here, because you don't want to let XOP accelerate into this one, give them the opportunity to really build up that confidence and carry it through. You need to shut this one down if you're MBT, and you need to do it now.
Yeah. What's the magic number in rounds? What would you be happy with at the end of this for MBT over the half?
Oof, I mean, they're 8-3 down. I'd say 6 is good. If they can pick up 3 more, I'd say they've had a decent half given what's happened early on, because the economy isn't set at all for the CTs.
You need to be able to save rifles too, so the real key is staying alive through the next couple of rounds. But it looks like the pause is over. We will be starting off once again. As you mentioned, the buy comes through, and this is a double op situation.
Yeah, again, interesting to see. MBT, as soon as they have the cash, they are willing to fully invest it, not wasting any time or money, and Ying gets a little bit of a team block coming in there, might have put her off the long peak. And indeed it has. She's actually going to hold passively while CMY takes up the duty. And a fairly passive setup early on from XOP. They haven't been too keen on the aggressions when they know the rifles are available. Ayumi getting the AWP in her hands for the first time on the CT side of Dust 2 and doesn't quite hit the early shot.
Ayumi's tagged up as well. 27 health left available for one of the oppers. And it's just those slow movements for XOP. This team has definitely shown itself to be more than capable of being aggressive, but as you pointed out, when they know they're facing down rifles, they take their time.
Very methodical in how they execute. They're not looking to get overly aggressive. You can see it's a 3-man stack at the moment, essentially, towards that B-bomb site. The AWP of Ayumi is watching towards mid, but a very swift rotate if needed.
Flash comes up. It looks like the play is going to be onto A short. As they look to rotate there, it's only going to be Ying guarding.
Playing on the Kenny S angle, it is a very effective angle, but it's also very common as XOP. They're looking to group up on the push. The first shot will hit, though.
Nice job by Ying. That's going to be ice eliminated first in this round. Molotov. Now he's just going to peek over it with the scope. Doesn't have much of an angle to see anybody. And Funny is going to get lit up, but not before taking out Melily.
And this is exactly how MBT would have wanted this round to fall out. XOP played very cautiously, but as soon as they go for any kind of aggressive peaks, MBT have got them absolutely locked down, hitting their shots to make it 5 versus 3, as Yisungu basically has to go huge out along here. They have to find the frag onto CMY and then pincer into this bomb site, but it's a little bit of an off angle for the CT, and Yisungu not expecting it, still able to hit the shot, and now there's potential, but Japan's shutting down the team in the meanwhile. Nani gets one.
And it looks like it started to even out a little bit, though. 3 incredibly low health members, but MBT hold together long enough, and it looks like Japan is going to be able to get 2 down to finish the round.
The swing 180, there's tags across the board for the CT side, but XOP not able to quite find the bomb site. 10 seconds left in the round. They drop the bomb off of that short petition down in towards CT, and that is an absolute nightmare scenario. No possibility of recovery, and you could see MBT knew it. Just backed off. They knew they just needed to stay alive to secure the round, and indeed they did. Kept the AWPs alive as well.
Yeah, enough money actually to be able to really full kit out here on the MBT side, so this is a good buy for them in that situation, saving enough guns. And you can see XOP, they're just going for money again. Look at Melily.
Straight back on that MAC-10. As soon as she's short on cash, she's going to grab that one up and try to give herself an opportunity. As Japan's going to get a little bit aggressive in towards short. Of course, XOP consistently looking to execute here, so
scopes up. Boom! Ooh. Oh, Japan did not know it hit her.
An absolutely huge opening frag there as well, because you can see the rotation is almost instantaneous from laying it in towards that A-bomb site. They know how consistently XOP have executed in towards short, so they need to provide the support lines.
XOP. Slow move, though, trying to control through mid. You can see Ice is leading the charge, but maybe she shouldn't have been. Ayumi takes her down on the scope.
Absolutely team flashed as well. There was a flash through mid from the T side that completely blinded Ice before she had any opportunity. Of course, a very tight angle, and Ayumi uses it to perfection with that AWP. Always got the advantage on those sort of range, tight angles, but still an opportunity here for XOP. They have the man advantage over towards this A bomb site as the Molotov's dropped by Ying, trying to buy time with 50 seconds left on the clock.
It's a good split from MBT, though, as long as they trust their oppers to be able to pick off those shots. And I think there's some indecision here coming through from XOP. It looks like they decide to abandon A and head towards B instead, over through tunnels.
It is currently Funny alone towards the B bomb site, so there's potential here. If they can isolate the 1v1s, they can find this round and find the opportunity to really accelerate into this half as the execute will come in. Pop flash comes through. Do they clear the angle? They don't.
Oh, did not see the shot. That's one, that's two, but Funny does get overwhelmed at the end of the day, but it's down to Yusungu. And I don't think that's going to be enough to get the plant off. Plenty of time coming through for MBT to rotate onto B site, and this should be their round.
10 seconds left on the clock. There's nothing more Yusungu can do. Just backing out of the situation, trying to keep her hands on the Krieg, give her team a little bit more to buy around into the next round. But that is exactly what you wanted for MBT. A little bit of a mistake from XOP, not clearing the angle on Funny, but works out perfectly.
Hey, man, you said the magic number 6. MBT are creeping up on that.
They are getting closer and closer, and obviously it depends on how they look on their T side, but they are really starting to find their footing in this game. Again, they're going to be bringing out the double AWP setup. They're starting to find a method that works for them against XOP, and that could be the key as P250s across the board in support of that one Krieg. It's going to be a very difficult thing for XOP to find this round.
Been impressed with Ying's op shots the last couple of rounds for sure. I think it definitely speaks volumes that they trust enough to go for the double op setups. Very expensive, but it works out for them. Here comes the rush from XOP all the way over to A long. This time, MBT did not expect that one. They will be scrambling to respond, but they haven't managed to take anybody down just yet, and CMY has been lost.
Nice use of utility just to buy a little bit of time there. The AWP a little bit isolated. Ayumi on the side is trying to hold it down, missing a couple of shots. So many targets to hit, and she can't quite find any of them. Melody will find it, and now these pistols are starting to overwhelm the bomb sites as Ying misses the quick scope. The trades are through, and it's down to a 4 versus 1 for Japan. Nothing she can really do in this round.
People looking to save. No, she actually just wants to find the damage, but Ice is going to polish her off, so it is a 9-5. And it looks like we've got one more round going into the half for MBT to try and pick up that crucial 6th.
And that just looked like MBT, they know how consistently XOP have got aggressive towards short, so they couldn't afford to expend quite so much manpower towards that A-long position, and that allowed those P250s to really wreak havoc. It was just a bit of conditioning from the T side. They make themselves aware of where they push, and then they use the opposite angle as MBT, they're going to be back down onto the SMGs, looking to invest fully into the last round of the half, but it's a very mediocre half by MP9s, MP7. A couple of rifles as Ice goes for the early pick and hits the shot as well.
That's going to be Ying as well. This is going to be tough here. Bomb's not even picked up. XOP are going for the executions. First off, is CMY trying to guard around the side here. In pit. Ice looking to turn on. Oh, peek. They know they're not taking the shot. Yusungu, they didn't see this in time. That's going to be one before they turn around. Missed execution from XOP, and Melody is going to get taken down. This might actually be a chance for MBT after all.
MP9 going for the fast flash out along, but it's a very long-range fire angle. It's not going to benefit that SMG whatsoever. It's down to Omid and Ice here to really pull something ridiculous off. That B-bomb site push just fell apart for Melody. Funny on the MP7 getting a nice double kill, even recovering an AK-47 on 5 HP. That nade not going to do too much, would have perhaps caught a low HP player, but instead Japan just going to hide in towards the elevator angle. He has cover on the retreat. Funny on 5 HP needs to be found very early on here. You can see Ice jiggle peeking the angle. Funny playing a little bit of an off position. There is a Molotov to try and flush out Japan. If they look to use it there, the T side, there is potential, but they're not currently grouping.
I wonder if Funny should just wrap around, go for a bait play here on the other side.
Japan's been spotted out, and this could be where they look to use, yeah.
Oh, yeah, mad.
The Molotov is, they know they've got the Molotov, but they're going to throw it towards Goose instead, because why not? Japan's going to be kept alive in towards the elevator, buying so much time for this rotation. You can see Ayumi straight up on the backstab.
Nice.
No idea.
Absolutely beautiful, and that will be the finisher. 6 rounds in, MBT managed to pull it back on the CT side of the end. They still trail 3 at the half. Oh, boy.
That was quite
something.
That
was, absolutely. And, you know, that's what MBT needed, because they were on the ropes for a good chunk of that half.
Yeah, I said 6 was the magic number, and they did manage to pull it off. I mean, XOP, they looked so strong early on the T side, and it took a while for MBT to really get their feelers into the game, start to feel like they were hitting their shots. But when they did, they recovered really well, and that was a testament to their team that they managed to recover that situation.
Yeah, staying calm, staying collected. That's the key. You can't afford to panic, and I really like what I'm seeing here out of this Malaysian side. Still down, up against the Mongolians, and I think I want to see how CT goes here for XOP, because they actually showed a lot of diversity in their play style, right? You see Ice here kind of taking a shot out. That was that wraparound from CMY. But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of skill here on this XOP side, and it is hard to scout for them, as we've mentioned before in the past. And going into the second half, I want to see how well they play CT. I want to see if they go for like aggressive defensive plays, especially in the pistol round, or if they hang back and let MBT come to them.
Yeah, I mean, aggression doesn't always transfer well across onto the CT side. It's a side that tends to reward the more team-oriented plays, but we'll wait with bated breath to see what XOP can bring. A couple of flashes and a defuse onto Melody, as it is the utility onto Japan for MBT, and they are starting to make the wrap in towards mid. You can see Ice just backing off the angle there. Doesn't want to take this fight just yet, and there's plenty of presence for MBT to try and isolate this. The utility's still alive. They have so many options on this execute.
Yeah, Ying looking to peek through mid doors.
Spots that first.
Oh, Ice getting tagged. Down to 10.
Huge dink by the Glock there. That forces Ice off of the angle, much more passive in towards the B-bomb site, and that's going to leave a very isolated A-hold. Nani and Melody are going to have to show up absolutely huge here. They have to hit their shots. Pop flashes towards short by a little bit of time, but the headshot's not quite there for Nani.
Through A long. Game is up, though. It's all revealed. Meanwhile, the wraparound from the rest of the players, Ayumi, trying to get those pop shots up, finding actually 2 here. And Ying is even able to clean up Melody, so this should be MBT winning the pistol round. It's still a chance for Oyamad to clutch it out, but that is not going to be easy.
Yeah, with Ice on 10 HP, it's all down to Oyamad to try and find something. Ice actually taking the...
Maybe a bit of a bait play. Jumps up on Xbox, taken out.
Taking the suppressor off the pistol. A little bit of a weird one. Ayumi trying to hunt.
That's
Oyamad.
one.
Nice shot for the first.
Finding 2, actually.
Time not on her side, though. No defuse kit, has to back off of the angle. Will be conceding a 7th round to MBT, who aren't going to go down quietly here. Looking to steal a first map away from XOP, and if they steal XOP's map pick, things could get really rough.
And carrying the momentum over into the next side, the money may not do, but certainly feels good for your mental confidence. So bomb will blow, MBT will be able to take themselves the pistol round.
And yeah, keeping 3 players alive. They didn't find too many frags. Ayumi went absolutely huge in towards short, of course, but the alive players didn't find too many frags, but they keep themselves alive. They keep their armor available, and that makes this reinvestment a little bit cheaper, as we will see a huge amount of SMGs coming out yet again on the T side.
Okay, so it looks like it's not just XOP that like to stack the cash.
Yeah, and XOP have actually picked up 3 HE nades here, so I'll be interested to see where they look to nade stack with that. It looks like it will be long based on where the players are going, so they're going to go aggressive towards long. And
everyone's like going this way. This is going to be a bloodbath right now.
If this nade stack works, it'd be absolutely huge, but it's not going to. It's a massacre. Ice able to find 1, but
dear.
Japan trades it out almost instantly.
Oh man, that was fun to watch. That is a fast round.
Normally, that nade stack is good for at least 1. You get 3 nades into a very narrow angle, you can find an easy frag, but those SMGs just a little bit too quick and a little bit too efficient at taking down the unarmored CT siders. Off the back of that, there's not quite enough cash to get a full buy. XOP dropping down onto the pistols again. Deagles, CZs looking for the individual plays to really shine through, as there's a fair amount of upgrades on MBT, picking up the Galil.
See what Japan and crew can get done here, as they've kind of split out on default. Bombs hanging back in the hands of Ayumi.
Oh, this is a timing for Nani. She spots out the players.
On the angle, Nani's looking for one. Ayumi nearly in the sights and misses the shot. Ayumi gets the tag up, takes it down. It looks like this is going to be the rotate. Over to A, through short. Meanwhile, they've cleared the way for long right now, and all of a sudden, it's an isolated Melody, and there's nothing you can do here, getting burned alive. And that's going to be the plan for MBT. They're going to equalize on rounds.
Yeah, and I mean, Melody does well even to find 1 frag there with the 5-7 in that position, but equalizing on rounds, MBT got to be feeling good. They've capitalized well off that pistol round.
Yeah, they certainly have. Momentum swing in their favor. And that's not something we would have expected from the way this first half started. Ice finding Japan. So it's not over just yet, but you've got to make moves fast. Funny's actually backing away.
Yeah, you can see what Ice is trying to do here. If you keep players locked into the site for long enough, she finds another.
Wait a minute. All of a sudden, things got real hairy here. It's down to CMY with an AK. You need to find those shots. Are you kidding me? XOP, do they have time to defuse?
They don't. Oh, man, that has got to be so unfortunate. So awful a feeling for XOP. They did everything they possibly could have done in that round, but still not quite able to find it.
You do decimate the economy a little bit of MBT, so that certainly helps them out, making them rebuy just about everything. They've got the money in the bank to do it, but you don't want to have to dip into your savings if you don't have to, you know?
Exactly. Ice just a little bit too late on that short aggression. If she goes 5 seconds earlier, there's a possibility of a defuse there, but unfortunately for XOP, things draw level at 9
You
apiece.
can see they're not going to make that mistake again. There's 3 defuse kits on XOP's side. They're moving through. Okay, so it looks like the bomb's in tow going up through tunnels.
And Nani's accidentally not bought, so she's rushing back to spawn, grabs herself an AWP.
Oh boy. Trying to take those long shots.
MBT playing very passively in the early round, then looking to learn from those mistakes. They have the presence towards lower tunnels, and Funny's going to make her way up short here. Just taking a little bit of the map away at a time. XOP not playing too aggressively on their CT side yet.
Trying to cover mid right now. Nobody's peeking through doors. You can see it's just Ice that's waiting around. No commitment to either bomb site just yet.
Medley just holding off on that angle, playing. She's looking the wrong way, and that allows her to remain obscured for the time being. Funny is aware of the possibility, just holding the angle with the AK, not giving up anything just yet. Medley looks like she wants to go, waiting for the pop flash perhaps in towards short, hearing all of this information in the meanwhile, of course, about where MBT are starting to make this stack as Nani will throw the pop flash, and that's perfect for Medley. She will not hit the shot. How has Ying got that?
I have absolutely no idea, Wolfie. That was a big turnaround, and now there's the commitment on to A, as Ling is going to be able to find Nani on a headshot, so this will be the bomb plant on A. XOP bringing the rest of their members rotating in. There's one sitting in the pit, trying to see if they can find an angle at Sisungu, but they just plant and move out.
Yeah, the short plant allows them to not even bother contesting long, and it gives them such a strong position. You can see all 5 players for MBT in towards short. No presence anywhere else, but they don't need to have presence anywhere else, as Ice will be able to find one onto Japan. Ying trades onto Yisungu, though, trying to make her way up along. It's all down to Ice and Oyamud. We've said that a few times now, but 4 versus 2, they've got so much ground to make and so little time to do it. Just going to be the save.
And MBT able to stack round after round after round. We thought it was going to break when XOP managed to get the wipe on them, but it was too late to defuse the bomb last round, and we will finally see this side from Malaysia take a lead.
And I mean, that really says something for this MBT side. They've looked really solid on the T side of Dust 2, and XOP just haven't brought the same level of play on the CT side as they did across that T half. They look so strong there, but they're really struggling to string rounds together on the CT side.
Yeah, MBT pretty happy. You can hear him even laughing in the background right now. XOP. We asked the question, how is their CT going to perform? So far, definitely some questions here. Let's see if they can pick up the pace a little bit. This time the buy comes through. They will have an AWP on Nani.
They will have a fairly strong buy across the board, but they've just been struggling to find frags, XOP, and you find it a little bit unusual to say that given how strong their T side looked, as MBT going to look very aggressive towards that B-bomb site early on. Oyamud has the Molotov, but it's going to go out all too late. Has to swap out to the AK.
And they see the rush too late right now. XOP, they're going to have to move into React. This is a great rush coming out of MBT. Molotov up over by window, doesn't quite find the angle they were looking for. All the same, bomb's already planted. This is going to be the ball in XOP's court to try and defuse.
And a 5 versus 4 retake of the B-bomb site with so little utility. You can see Nani trying to make her way in towards the doors. Ice gets spotted out.
Keep your head down.
And this is just lethal. So much utility still available for
Here's
MBT.
Ying 2 through doors. Looking for one. Melody actually sniffs that out. Turns it around. Still, though, the retake going to be very difficult here. Yeah. And I think XOP's backing away.
Yeah, they have to concede the situation. The economy really isn't there for them to be committing to a B-site retake. And they found themselves a frag, and that's the best they're going to get out of this round, as they should allow most of MBT to stay alive and save as well in towards B upper. Nobody really committing to the hunt from XOP. Not enough cash left in the bank, so 11-9 the scoreline, and MBT looking seriously strong on the T side of Dust 2.
Oh, yeah. And everybody's really pulling their weight here. I mean, almost double-digit kills across the board. CMY just the only one falling short of that here on the MBT side, and really looking forward to seeing how they can continue through this one. For XOP, still searching for answers. They have not picked up a round in several.
They haven't picked up a single CT-sided round yet. Really struggling to find their feet and get an execute going. I don't think we've really seen any of that aggression that we would have expected. MBT actually calling the timeout, perhaps looking at how they can close out this first map and take it to their map pick, which would be absolutely huge, of course. The team that came through the open qualifiers, XOP invited, and they're looking like they're struggling so far on their map pick.
Yeah, you can see. A little quiet there on the XOP side. We'll see what they can get done. Buy comes through. Double op situation. Oyamad and Nanny both having one.
First time we've seen that, and they could really be looking to use those AWPs to try and find picks, try and find that aggressive frag style of play that we saw from them on the T side. As again, MBT aggressive towards B. 4 players there. Can Oyamad hit these shots?
It's a big rush. That's going to be one. Do you have more? They know that this is happening here. Funny's going to get dropped as well, but they managed to break through. And that's going to be yet another plant on B, but it is a 3v3 situation. CMY not that healthy either. This is a chance for XOP.
There's a little bit of damage done as well. There is potential here as Nanny will spot out the first player. A little bit unfortunate, jumping up on the boxes, doesn't have the time to get the AWP out. Can they find a retake here? All 3 players committed to the doors or the windows. You can see Japan just holding off from the tunnels. Melanie will find the first. The trade not there. Ayumi missing the shots with the AWP, not quite able to connect. Will finally with the flick.
Ayumi!
Holding this site down.
Are you absolutely kidding me? That's going to be the hold.
What a flick on the AWP. Ayumi looking absolutely psyched there on the camera. A huge play from her on the B-bomb site, locking it down and bringing her team to within 4 rounds of taking the first map.
That's a highlight reel worthy play if I've ever seen one. Let's take a look at this again. Oyamad starts it off by lighting a few up, but they overwhelm.
And I mean, you cannot argue with this from Ayumi. This is a real show of her skill. A beautiful flick for the first, and the second isn't too shabby.
What a way to break into 20+ kills in the round. Oh, man. And if you're XOP, how demoralizing is that?
Yeah, you've just watched half your team get absolutely decimated by 1 player from MBT. Yisungu trying to get aggressive out long and instantly shut down.
Okay, MBT, they're going to go up through long right now, and this is actually not being guarded by XOP. It seems like they're in disarray. Nanny does find one, though. That's help. 4v4 situation as Yisungu gets dropped.
That allows them to have the short anger, and that is absolutely key when this long take comes in. They need players towards short to rotate in towards the site, and Nanny will look to do exactly that on 19 HP, but this flank is so huge. CMY knows exactly how to play it, but she only finds one. Nanny trades out. That was actually an awesome headshot to make it 3v3. There's damage to work with as the bomb starts to make its way towards the site.
And Nanny's going to get dropped down as well. 3v2 situation at the moment. But the bomb's yet to be planted. And on the jump, Ayumi again. Don't give this girl an AWP. That was dirty.
MBT have played this round to perfection now. They've planted the bomb. That's perfectly in the crosshairs of Ayumi on the AWP out towards long, giving herself the longest possible angle with the AWP. Ice left 1 versus 3 with an M4. Goes for the peak. Of course, it would be Ayumi to get the 13th round and take her team to within 3. This is absolutely huge for MBT.
Been a complete wipe of the T side for MBT.Baeters. This is ridiculous.
Yet to lose a round on the T side of XOP's map pick. That is absolutely huge. And again, the money isn't there for the CT side. Deagles, CZs and 5.7s to try and make something happen, but you've seen how good MBT can be. Can they pull it off again? 4 pistols towards long this time from XOP, and I'd expect to see them getting very, very aggressive.
And every time I see Ayumi scope, I'm just expecting to see a headshot, man. This is getting crazy. And looks like it will be MBT taking their time about this, looking to go up short. Meanwhile, XOP, they'd committed to long for a little while. They are going to leave Yisungu in the pit with only Oyamad guarding B, trying to fan out as much as they possibly can. But you've got 2 coming up here through stairs.
Trying to put that presence towards the A-bomb site. They know MBT tend to prefer A. They're going to give themselves the best possible opportunity to do as much damage as they possibly can. Nanny's got the nade in towards CT. Could look to lob that one up on towards short. As MBT playing very passively, it is a wise enough thing to do against these pistols. Don't want to walk straight into a stack. Want to try and get as much information about the play as possible before you look to commit. Ying throwing all of the fake utility out of mid, just making as much noise as possible, looking to draw the rotations out. And you can see Nanny looking the wrong way as Melody looks to get aggressive. CMY rips her head off, and now Yisungu in a little bit of an awkward spot out towards long. Knows she's going to get overwhelmed. The headshot's not coming in for Nanny. She's traded out, and Yisungu can only find 1.
And there's the execution coming through right now as Ying will be able to finish off Oyamad. And this means that only Ice will remain. And just with a pistol, what can she do?
4v1 with a Deagle and armor. That is not a situation you want to find yourself in. Misses the shot. Ying shuts her down and keeps that flawless record on MBT. T side of Dust 2.
Are they really about to take a full T side?
That would be absolutely ridiculous if they could, especially considering how good XOP looked CT side.
They did. That was the crazy thing. Like, XOP started off on great momentum. They let MBT get back into it a little bit, but there is such a stark disparity between their T play and their CT play. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, MBT have taken what little they were given and they have made it work for every inch it can. It's going to be the full buy for the CT side to try and find something. They do have the AWP onto Nani, but it's not looking good at all. Fairly limited in the utility, and if MBT can bleed this out, it should be an easy enough execute.
Leaving the bomb behind here. Just trying to go for a few picks before they happen, but look how far back XOP are playing in every single corner of the map.
Very passive setup. They're clearly not too confident in their abilities and in their aggressions at this point. They know everything they've tried so far has been shut down, so this time they're not going to try anything. They're just going to sit and hold and wait for MBT to walk into them and hope that is the solution. Yeah,
nothing is definitely a play to make sometimes, and if you get a little too aggressive, teams sometimes can get punished by the others that are waiting in the wings. Nani just keeping that scope up 24/7.
Yisungu with a great position in towards the pit here. Japan's going to
Japan
right
on the scope. Nice. That was what they need on the XOP side. They've made it 5v4.
And now Nani needs to lock down the short position, and she will do. CMY falls in 5v3. MBT very spread across the map. Somebody needs to be the instigator. Somebody needs to find the shot to open things up. Ice playing in towards the window is going to just get the timing on the peak. You can see Ying a little bit confused at first. Does work out the angle, but what can MBT do here? They're 5v3. There's two players for the CT side in towards this B-bomb site, and the pop flash allows the peak, but Ying shuts it down, and now they're going to start to pincer in. Oyamid alone on this B-bomb site. Got to cover 3 angles at once, and they're going to stream in from all 3 of them. Do they clear the back angle? They do. One still found, a second tapping away. Oyamid holding down this site. Ayumi will trade on the AWP.
Hero play for Oyamid right there, bringing in enough time for XOP to finally take the round as they come in and clean house. And for the Mongolian team, that was absolutely needed.
It was absolutely essential, and for a moment, Ayumi 1v3 with the AWP, you couldn't help but thinking it was going to happen. Not quite the case in this occasion. XOP do get themselves into double digits, a 10th round for the CT side, but they really need to start converting. They need to find some success. They need to find some momentum off the back of that round.
Well, have to be happy the loss bonus doesn't completely reset off a win anymore, so they will be able to get a little bit extra money next time around if it happens. But they are very close to just losing it all. They need to start picking them up as they go here, and the Molotov through it. MBT just melting through all of that fire.
So much damage done. Oyamid managing to get 2 with the Molotov.
That rush turned into a bit of a nightmare. Bomb does get planted down, though. Ice through the door. Takes down CMY.
Nani trying to make something happen, jumping through the smoke. It has allowed Ayumi a little bit of an opportunity in towards Kara. It allows Ying to escape as well. Ayumi has to go absolutely huge here. Ying
5 health, though. Nothing he can do. All right, that's going to be XOP. And finally, those diffuse kits come in handy.
They get themselves an 11th round. 3 kills with the Molotov as well in that one. A very impressive stat, to say the least. You could see what MBT were trying to do, just up the pace, try and catch XOP off guard. But the Molotov this time comes out perfectly on the B-bomb site, gets the damage, gets the kills. And XOP looking to start a little bit of a comeback here.
Yeah, stack 2 kills together, stack 2 wins together, I should say. That means that they have a very real chance of keeping this one close. MBT still need 2 rounds to win it all here on Dust 2. XOP feeling a little bit more confident.
Of course, MBT, they've got so much money built up in the bank, they're still going to be fully invested into this round.
They must have been capped out for a while.
Yeah, they've still got 5 AK-47s. They've still got full utility, and they're going to go fast towards short here. Ice, with the AK, not ideal for that hold, is going to have to retreat off of mid, try and support in towards this A-bomb site. Fairly heavy CT presence.
This is the same strat, though. Hide as far away as you can. You see you've got 1 at Goose, 1 at Car, and 1 roaming around.
Yeah, the exact same play coming out. No need to get aggressive. Ayumi just eats the nade. She's got the smoke line up, doesn't want to come off of it. This is a fairly standard execute on towards the A-bomb site. The utility, the smoke allows you to get a little bit further forward, throw some more nades, give yourselves a little bit of room to move, as Ice is just holding the very edge of it. Japan looking to pop flash a teammate in.
Nades up. Iron, drop down for Ayumi. Didn't see Ice at all, but gets finished off eventually anyways. It was a very close miss for a second. 3v3 situation at the moment as MBT trying to scramble to get on here. They've losing members, and it's just down to Ying now. Nowhere near the bomb. This one's going to be XOP's.
1 versus 3 with the AK-47, and she has no idea this long player's coming. She just has an indication that the B rotation is in, but that half of a shadow gives her away. She will find 1. Melody trades it out. 14-12 the scoreline. And as fast as MBT made it to 14, XOP are looking to bite back.
Man, we're starting to see momentum swings. It's a big pendulum this time around. No back and forth, but just up and then down. XOP, they get their buyout once again. This time the AUG's coming in.
Only perk for MBT at this point is the bank has kept them going long enough that now the loss bonus is starting to help things out. They've still got so much money.
They've cruised into it, man. It's a retirement plan.
They've got 5 AKs again, full utility again. This is not something you normally see. If you lose 3 rounds in a row, you're expecting at least 1 half buyers. MBT going to mix things up and go aggressive towards long this time. The flash is keeping XOP off the angles. The AWP is still very much in play. Nani holding that one in towards the barrels on that A-bomb site.
Looks like they just start to bunker up on both sides at the moment. Not sure where the commitment is. You can see XOP still, even though they've strung some wins together here, feeling very much the pressure of MBT on the cusp of taking their map.
Yeah, and as MBT takes short control, this looks more and more like it's going to be a pincer in towards that A-bomb site. The smoke's buying a little bit of time for XOP, and Nani on that AWP is going to be absolutely crucial. Japan knows there's a gap, though. What a shot onto Melody to open things up, and now Nani has to cover 2 angles at once. This could be it.
It's not going to be easy. Doesn't take the shot too late on the scope. Tries to turn it around. Does manage to find one on Ying, but Yisungu already dropped Nani as well now. And MBT start to take control. Get the plant down on A.
4 versus 2, and they are looking for match point here. They're looking to take the first map and take XOP's map pick as well. How crucial could that be as Omid and Ice, they have to commit to this. They have no choice but to try and make this retake happen.
Well, you can see that Funny's not quite with the rest of the squad, but it's still going to be a 2v3 in this particular situation. Nade does go up. CMY getting eliminated, actually. But you're running out of time to get the defuse on. You need to win this quickly. You've got one. Ayumi just playing for time at this point.
So low HP, but she's playing it to perfection. Even manages to find the frag. That buys Funny the time to rotate in. The bomb's going off either way here, and Funny will find the frag. Match point. MBT going to take this first map if they get one more round here. And XOP, it looked like they were going to pull it back just for a moment, but the economy is broke.
You have enough money for an AWP there on Nani, and the rest of the team is going to have to go with that. We'll have a bit of a bargain bin coming through here, and I guess the motto is trust in Nani this game.
Yeah, it's not a good buy at all for XOP. They've been a little bit unfortunate in how the economy's been for them. They've not really had control over their finance across this first map. As straight out of long, CMY is going to find an early pick for MBT, and the pot flash is good, but Japan's covering it perfectly. Yisungu falls, as now it's all down to Nani. The AWP will find an early opening, but you can see MBT, they know exactly what's up here.
Yeah, they're taking control.
Instantly change things up and start to take mid.
4v3. Bomb on 2 in mid, and the rest rotated just outside of blue.
Ying's holding for any kind of a rotation out of B here. They have so much information to work with MBT.
Solo move with the bomb.
There. Yeah, you can kind of afford to solo move because from that position she's cleared all of B upper. She knows there's no aggression from the CT side here, so they know realistically there's only going to be 1 or 2 players here. They know the AWP's towards the A-bomb site as Ayumi. Now the aggression is starting to come in, and this is a shot that Ayumi has to hit, and she won't find it. Oyamud dropped the bomb. This is going to allow the rotates in, and now there's time. A second for Oyamud.
This is evening up. This is a chance for XOP to hang on here. As the 2 come through, they will get the elimination onto Oyamud, but it's a 2v2 situation, truly about as even as you can possibly get. Nani does have that op, still looking for 1. The shot lights up CMY, but not enough to take her down.
Oh, she can't hit it on the second time.
Same for Nani.
5 HP for Nani, 7 for CMY. This is going to be right down to the wire. That Molotov forces her back off the angle. You can't commit, and she'll burn alive. Tries to get the peek in, and it's all down to Ice.
Can Ice clutch it out? Need to get the 2 kills and the defuse. CMY, 7 HP. Easier said than done, all things considered, though. Need to peek around for Funny. Oh, and that's it. MBT.Baeters take out Dust 2.
And they are feeling good about it in the background as well. And what a map from them. The T side was absolutely huge for MBT. They did not mess around, finding up to 14 rounds without losing a single round on the T side. That's almost unheard of.
Yeah, that was a crazy momentum build. And you could see it every time they did lose a round, they were still full 5 AK-47s every single time.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And MBT, they've got to be feeling good now. They've just taken the invited team's map away almost instantly, and that is quite something from MBT.
Yeah, it is. I want to see what happens next on Train, how things can turn around, but MBT, they have to be feeling very confident. That being said, XOP did start to pull it back a bit. They did show that even when they were down in a massive deficit of rounds, they could still start to pull it back, got into the double digits, stacked a few more rounds. Unfortunately, their economy just not quite as healthy, and they end up getting rolled over at the end of the day.
Yeah, you could see XOP starting to build that momentum, starting to really feel their way back into the second half towards the end there. But then MBT, they had so much money in the bank. They had so many rounds to work with. It was just a matter of time before they took it. And, I mean, for XOP, a couple of players showed up big time and a couple of players really didn't show up at all, and I think that's the issue.
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple of players. I think Ice, for instance, got dropped really early on in a couple of those rounds, and that was always a bit of the trouble is on the CT side especially, there just didn't seem to be that same comfort level for the Mongolian team, and I wonder if that persists across maps or if that's very specific to Dust 2.
Yeah, I think it probably will persist. And I mean, for XOP, you've got to feel they went for the pick of the Pug map. They went for the pick of going, okay, we're going to lay down the gauntlet. We're going to show our individual skill and go from there. And it hasn't worked. And now they've got to go to Train, which is a map that MBT are consistently good on and a map that MBT clearly know the executes for. So it's going to be very, very difficult for XOP to try and make their way back and take this to map 3.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out there. But MBT definitely building up a lot of confidence for themselves. And you could see big smiles on their faces. They were. I like to see the difference between our two Malaysian teams here because when we're talking about Orange Sphinx, that is a team that is just. They don't make a sound. There's maybe they maybe crack a smile when they know they're about to win, but by comparison, MBT.Baeters, no, they're cheering every time they stack the wins on the round. All big smiles on their faces, laughs all around as they were walking off the stage there, and they will be feeling absolutely jubilant going into this next one on Train.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the two sides of the spectrum in terms of CS teams. You're looking at the established team with all of the backing in Orange Sphinx, and they know that they need to win these games. And then an MVP for Ayumi as MBT, everything they get is a gift, and she goes absolutely huge.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we saw a bigger KD than this in the other round, but Ayumi was insane. You compare the top-ranking players between the two of them. I did talk about Ice earlier on. Still actually managed to have a pretty solid rating across the board. And actually the same number of deaths for both of these players.
Yeah, I think it was what Ayumi managed to achieve that's more important. You look at the ADR on Ice and you look at the situation, and Ayumi's just finding more kills.
Yeah, and you can see it coming up in the sniper info, right? This is the key here. Is there's this disparity between the two AWPers.
Yeah, you see the KDs a lot better on the AWPer of Ayumi, and the AWP kills are more significant as well. So when she's got that AWP in her hand, she's making better use of it. And the AWP is such an expensive weapon to invest in. You need to be good with it every time you get it.
Yeah, so looking across the board for XOP, who do you want to see more of and really step up in this next round?
I mean, there's one obvious choice, and it's Yi Sung-gu needs to be better. You look at Oyamud, Ice, and Melody all put in big performances and weren't quite able to carry their team across the line. Nani, a solid performance, just really Yi Sung-gu on 6 kills to 20 deaths. You need to see more than that if you're going to take these maps, and then we go across.
Very clear MVP for Ayumi, but everybody else is more or less pulling their weight on this one. So I think it is really good to see that happening for our Malaysian side in this game, and honestly, a well-earned Dust 2.
Yeah, and I mean, if you isolate Ayumi from that, everybody is around the same sort of KD and around the same sort of impact in the round, and that's really key. Everybody is contributing. Everybody's putting their work in to allow this team to really flourish and take the map.
And after some really kind of rough rounds in the very beginning when they actually had to start climbing back, because remember, if you look in the first half when they were on the CT side themselves, it was, they'd be happy to get 6, and they did manage to get it back, but the momentum swing was massive because it carried through the half.
Yeah, I think it really is a testament to MBT to be able to go through that situation and come out of the other end. I think that's absolutely huge, and it really shows their team spirit and really shows what they can bring to this series. And I mean, they've put the gauntlet down with Dust 2.
Yeah, and I think the same's going to have to happen for the Mongolian team. XOP are going to have to do this on Train. It's not the map they picked, but we'll have to find out right after a break. We'll be right back with more of the ZOWIE Divina tournament.
How do you reveal the hidden enemies in PUBG? Adjust the black equalizer to brighten darker areas, which makes it easier to spot enemies hiding in the shadows. How do you make your PUBG experience more diverse and convenient? Color Vibrance allows for more realistic and vibrant colors. It also provides the convenience to tune colors in-game, making you see the change instantly. Save up to 3 different settings based on your preferences, and use the S switch to quickly change between those settings.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the ZOWIE DIVINA Women's CSGO Asia Championship here in 2019. We have got one map down in our second match of the day, and we are moving on to Train after this one. It's been a lot of Dust 2 so far, Wolfie.
Yeah, and it's been a really contrasting Dust 2. I mean, T-sides were a thing that the first matchup struggled with, and MBT showed up huge on theirs.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. What a big turnaround, because we were talking at the first half of, oh, it'd be great if they could pick up 6. They ended up doing that, but then they kept winning. They didn't stop, and we saw all smiles on the MBT side at the end of that map because they just absolutely crushed it. I hope, for XOP's sake, that they can pick things up CT on Train.
Yeah, I mean, it was very contrasting, the emotions. MBT were absolutely ecstatic, cheering, screaming, hugging each other, thinking, yep, this is our map, and XOP just looked absolutely distraught to be losing that matchup. So going to need a little bit of a mental rethink and just really reset yourselves for this second map, because it's MBT's map and they've looked good on it so far.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree. So we will be getting underway very quickly here. In fact, it's just off the board now. So MBT will start off on the CT side. XOP, of course, had the choice.
Fairly standard decision. It's a very CT-sided map, to say the least. So smoking a couple of flashbangs onto Melody to try and open something up as CMY takes the early peek. Doesn't spot out too much, and the defuse kit is on Japan. Smoke grenade there, and that's currently in towards the B bomb site. So that's just a bit of a time play. If any aggression is seen, and it looks like XOP starting to posture towards that B bomb site. Yeah,
taking their time about it, though. And they do have one player that's kind of hanging back. Was over near Ivy, decided not to really go any further into it. It's a good spread out of defense from MBT. You can see in the front is Japan, kind of guarding the doorway at B ramp.
Yeah, and as she takes this early peek, Nani will make herself visible. Japan spots it out, but doesn't get the smoke off. She's taken down. And now they're just going to explode on, and the USPS not hitting the shots at range, and that's going to allow this plant to go down for XOP. 4 versus 5. Ying wants to get aggressive early on, takes the contact, but takes the dink, just about secures the frag, and looking for more will be traded out.
You can see XOP absolutely come alive here. They have a 3v2 advantage. Try and guard from the defuse of MBT. Down to the bomb. Oh! And unfortunately, it's just down to CMY for MBT, so they will lose the pistol round, and XOP start off hot on T's once again.
And I mean, T-sided Train, that pistol round is almost vital. That pistol round allows you to start to build your T-side, because as soon as the rifles come out, this map becomes a completely different ballgame. So getting that pistol on the board is absolutely key for XOP. Pause instantaneously coming in, as we will see the MAC-10 massacre being brought across that T-side.
Oh, man, I love this from XOP. When they play T's, they just say, all right, we've got some money. Let's keep getting money. We're going to stack it up. Yusungu, the first one to pick it up.
Yeah, and you can see the money on MBT. There is no cash left in the bank, and XOP should be able to string a few rounds together on the T side from this before MBT manage to get any kind of significant rifles. Because once the rifles come out for MBT, even with this AUG being a little bit nerfed, I think it's going to be quite a CT-sided affair.
Yeah. Now, this would be good for XOP if they do start to build an advantage while they are on T side, because if they can go into the half with more wins than losses, then all of a sudden it starts to look a lot better when they do switch to CT side, because they will be on a map that is favoring it.
I mean, you say that, but still. 9-6 on Dust 2, and it just went.
I hope it's better for them on Train. That was an absolute massacre. And they are playing, I mean, it's been one pistol round, right? But they are playing like that didn't happen, which is what you got to do.
Yeah, you've got to find that ability to mentally reset yourselves after that kind of a string of rounds. I mean, it was from 6 to 14 for MBT. That is absolutely ridiculous on the T side. So they've clearly managed to find some level of a mental reset. Started very early, hitting some nice shots on Train to open things up, as we do just get to see the players chilling, and you can see how MBT are just so relaxed about this. They're clearly not struggling at all with the pressure of LAN.
No, and I think that's the crucial thing here. And we've talked about experience. This is a team that has definitely been playing together for a little while now. And of course, it was only in this year that they got picked up with the MBT tag. Prior to this, they were just known as ZOWIE-Baeters. And I think they're a team that, while we hadn't seen as much of them compared to the likes of Orange Sphinx and whatnot, they do have enough of that experience to shine through, and it's certainly come to bear here.
Yeah, they've been a roster who's been together a long time. They've had that LAN experience. They've been to these sort of events before, and they really showed what they could do on D2, and obviously they'll be looking to carry that through onto Train. Their map pick, and a map they have been confident on throughout the open qualifiers, as the timeout will be over and done with. Going to bring out the Scout and an AK-47, so not quite the MAC-10 Train we expected from XOP, but should make light work of the default pistols.
Yeah. They can take them out here, and you can already see Ying is going to get tagged. Again, peeking around the side. Very aggressive CT play as they walked up all through Ivy. But this is going to get pretty easily cleaned up by XOP. Isangu getting just about everybody but Ying, and that's it. Done and dusted.
Yeah, plenty of damage actually onto that scout player, down to 5 HP Nani, but they just weren't quite able to connect the final killing blow, and keeping all 5 players alive, we're going to see XOP rolling these MAC-10s through into the 3rd round. Interested to see what MBT look to do here. On Dust 2, they didn't invest in the 3rd, and again, they're going to pull the same thing. They do have the money for rifles. Their utility isn't going to be there, so they say, fine, we'll drop down onto the pistols. We're not fussed. We'll take this. We'll take the 3-0 loss before we're able to get the rifles out, as going to keep those 2 MAC-10s. Couple of AKs, still the scout onto Nani, and it's P250s and just the lone deagle onto Ayumi to try and do as much damage as possible. 2
very different approaches to CSGO finances on display here. As we'll see the position being taken up by XOP. Over here outside, Nani's going to find Funny quickly. CMY nearly eliminated. It looks like the play is more towards A this time around. But over on Ivy, you actually see an elimination. Ice getting dropped down by CMY.
And there's good damage done as well. Nani brought down to 12 HP. We'll actually find the tag that allows the molly to find the frag, and then Melali cleaning up house. It's down to Japan and Ayumi here to try and do what they can. They do have a tag and a bit to work with onto Melali. But what can they find, as the headshot angle is going to be very, very difficult for Japan to play, and the flank is perfect.
There we go, wrapping around Z connector. Nicely done. Japan still alive, but just barely. Actually managing to get another frag, and was that onto Melali?
Just the default pistol, dropping an AK-47, and that is key. He will fall. It's another dink onto Yi Sung-gu, so making it as expensive as physically possible, as the AKs and the Scout are indeed saved into the 4th round, as we should see the first rifle buy coming out from MBT, and we should start to see the CTs really settle into this half.
All right. Ying's got the op, and it's just Augs across the board.
Yeah, fairly standard for train. It is a lot of long-range firing angles. There is not much close-up work to be done, so even with the shift of the AUG meta, I think we're still going to see a fairly solid, constant buy of the AUGs on this map. AK's Nani sticking with the Scout, so taking slightly lesser firepower as Ying misses the early shot. Set up with the AUG, not quite able to find it, and that will allow Brown Train to be taken by this T side, as you can see, desperate to get aggressive, but Oyuman's been taken down by Ayumi.
Look at this fan out from MBT right now. Just trying to take as much cover behind each of these sides, and Ice is going to get dropped once again as Omad as well. 5v3. XOP might be going down this round. Oh, Funny. Getting sprayed by Melali.
Yeah, Yi Sung-gu's just been heard rotating off. They know this is an A hit now, and the fast flank can start to come in, as Ying making that AWP work, a double kill on that, and Ayumi does just about have the spray down. Nani able to convert onto CMY before being traded out, and that bonus round really doesn't go down too well for XOP. Starting to see that CT dominance that you'd expect on train. 3 players kept alive, 2 AKs in fact saved, and that is the shift away from the AUG meta. It's saving the AKs rather than keeping the AUGs now.
Starting to see that happen in real time for sure. There is still 1 AUG picked up, this one by Japan. Excuse me, 2. CMY's got it. But yeah, good split cross after that. And we will see what MBT get done after their first 1 round.
Interesting choice to buy the Scout and the AWP. Clearly both teams trusting to play that pick-based style of play. 3 scoped weapons on the T side. That is not something you see every day, as Nani and Yi Sung-gu are going to head towards that B-bomb site early on. The rest of the players currently trying to get some presence in towards Ivy and Main.
Yeah. Whitehall's, though, is the play for XOP. They do drop off the bomb for a second.
Ice just starting to play with the idea of coming out of A and trying to make the play work. The Molotov will force Ayumi out of this angle, and Ice has read it beautifully, but still Ayumi finds the shot.
Oh, man, poor Ice. Really close to getting that finisher, but just not quite enough here. Ayumi going to watch the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, and that's such a clever
or the ladder,
play
I should say.
26 HP. If they drop down, it's such an easy lineup. Doesn't matter if you're flashed, whatever, you can still hit it. Flash smoked, you'll hit that shot every day. So the low HP players are absolutely ideal for MBT. Send her in there, an easy enough shot to hit, as they are a little bit cautious of this B hit coming in, and they should be indeed. There's a couple of players for XOP in towards the brown halls, and the rotation from Ying has allowed the AWP to cover up, but that will give Japan a little bit more creative freedom in how she wants to play the lower bomb site.
Oh boy. Oh. Thought for a second that was going the way, and it looks like they're going to be able to take down Ayumi and actually rotate over through Pop Dog.
The issue at the moment for XOP is the bomb is isolated. As CMY gets a double kill from
Ivy.
Oh my
word.
Funny just trades him straight away.
That is not going to look so good for XOP. So Oyamad, who's just been chilling, guarding the center of Ivy here, is going to have to make a mad dash to pick up the bomb and try for a plant somewhere.
Probably just looking to save the AK, in fact. I mean, that was
right.
an absolute decimation of a round from MBT. You could see that as soon as the refrag came in towards drop, XOP desperately wanted to make that execute happen, but they just walked into crosshairs. CMY, funny, the AK and the AUG combining beautifully to find a triple, and that was just it.
All right, so MBT starting to stack up those wins again. As you mentioned, CT favoring. This is starting to shine through, but also just in the play from MBT. Really covering a lot of angles in this one.
Yeah, and keeping so many rifles up, they're going to start to build that economy on the CT side. And I mean, on train, that is so important. You get that economy started, then realistically, you're only facing 4 or 5 more rifle rounds in the entire half from XOP, because their economy is going to be in such an awkward spot, as the saved AK is going to get support from Deagles and CZ75s to try and find a way into one of these bomb sites. But so far with the rifles, MBT have looked incredibly impressive.
Looks like the defense from MBT is going to be over towards A side. A couple through Z connector and a couple all the way through Ivy here. Very aggressive defense as they try to open the door. Oyamed's going to be able to find one before it's traded back. Don't always expect that from a CT side.
Ayumi managing to find a second frag as well. That's really important in towards the drop. It's just giving her team a little bit of room to breathe. The aggression towards Ivy almost working out, but the full flashed player just about manages the spray down. They have managed to isolate and remove the AK-47 from the equation in this round, so that was a really key frag to find, as Ice is just going to drop down the CZ and gets the timing. Ayumi checking the wrong angle, so that's another rifle recoverable. 3 versus 3. They can look to collapse onto one of these bomb sites now.
Yeah, bomb's going to get picked up, and it looks like it's going to be a rush over towards B side right now.
First real test for Japan on that B lower angle.
Okay, keeping the eyes on the ramp. They're not going through it, though. It looks like it's going to be over towards upper B. Oh, never mind. Bit of a peek out. Unfortunate timing, and all of a sudden XOP are down to just 1. Ying comboing up with Japan.
And Medley in a really awkward spot here, trying to play behind the smoke. The spam through from Japan so nearly connecting, but it's just the CZ left with 35 seconds on the clock. If Medley can get a bomb plant down here, that would be huge, the extra cash investment, and she might just get the timing around Japan, but they should hear this bomb. Yeah, she's on. There we go. 3 apiece. Things draw level for MBT, and despite losing a couple of players to a pistol and a lonely AK-47, they'll be happy with how that round's gone down. A little bit of a missed timing onto Ayumi, but besides that, well executed across the board.
Yeah, you can't expect perfection across, but certainly well enough to pick up their 3rd round and draw level with XOP. Take a look at the buy now. It looks like it's starting to strain the economy a little bit of XOP. They do manage to pick up a couple of AKs.
A couple of Kriegs as well, which is really interesting. Nani, for the first time in this series, is going to pick up the Krieg. Tends to pick up the AWPs, but of course the cash not quite there, and the Krieg does offer an alternative option, a little bit more sprayable, still gives the one-shot headshot, so there's potential for that weapon in this sort of a scenario. As Melalie's forced back down onto the MAC-10, and the instantaneous maneuver is to try and send someone down in towards drop early on.
One's over by Brownhalls now. Meanwhile, Ice is dropped first again. Japan to spray through.
Half an angle on that smoke. There must have been a one-way through the top of it. It was so precise. As Funny finds the second onto Oyama, and now this is starting to look really awkward. The Molotov will get some good damage onto CMY, who fully blind just starts to spray at a box. Will be taken down by Melee, so there's a rifle recoverable. There's 3 scoped rifles across this T side. Look to play the pick-based style and see what they can find. And you can see Ayumi instantly reacting to that Ivy pick by starting to make her way in towards the back lane, just covering every possible angle here, MBT. They know how important these CT rounds are on train.
Still, though, the rest of MBT not moving anywhere. In fact, you could see the vision for Funny was expecting an Ivy play, or at least a rotate for Melody there, but she's gone and rejoined the rest of her team as they look for a long rotate over by upper B.
Yeah, the AWP already in towards that B bomb site. Spots the first man, can't quite hit the shot, so it's going to take the damage for it, but then second time of asking through the side of the wall, gets the tag down to 7 HP. That's going to make it very awkward for Melody to cross onto site, and the AWP knows it, getting so much damage down. Will find the opening frag, because Nani gets the double spray with the Krieg.
Critically, though, XOP do manage to get the bomb plant there. Nani coming up with a hero play for her team. Sungu down to 16 HP, and that is going to be very close here as they try to cover the angle, the interval. But they're moving in on the CT side. MBT, they're looking to close the jaws. Yusungu wrapped around. Ying gets a finish with the pistol.
The upper player peeks, and why would you peek that? Oh, MBT get an absolute gift of a round.
Man, there was a chance to save it, but that peak, really unfortunate timing, and a big cheer coming up once again from MBT.Baeters as they take another one. Much closer this time around, though.
That was such a misfire. The double peak was so well set up, and you even saw Ying missing a few shots with the P250. Gave so much time for the swing from upper to trade that kill out, but The flick round and the AWP shot, absolutely spectacular from MBT to secure the round.
Oh boy, let's take a look at that again. After the pistol play, the turn, the jump, the scope, and it was all over.
Nani has so much time to convert on that frag, especially with the Krieg at range. That is such an essential shot for XOP to get and to secure that round, but we will see them calling the timeout off the back of that one as MBT do take the lead on the CT side, and they're going to look to pull off some similar antics to that of Dust 2, I imagine.
Yeah, well, it's starting to bring that momentum back in line with themselves. And, you know, this is not looking as great for XOP because we've already known their T side to be the stronger one. And after this half, if they don't have a decent number of wins stacked up, even if they have a favored map for them, they're just playing a little bit suboptimally. But it looks like it's going to be an Ivy rush.
Early utility drop for the CT side, and the flash isn't going to catch anything, so this could be an absolute massacre. But Yusungu makes the MAC-10 work, and now they can start to take back lane control as the spray down
and Oyamid, though. Oh, boy. Just on top of the train, and here it comes over to A. They will manage to get the plant down, but a 3v3 situation. Make that 3v2 as Yusungu gets dropped down by Ying. The question is, can MBT clean house here? They're losing a lot. It's actually going to be down to Ayumi. This is a chance for XOP to equalize.
If there's anybody you'd want from MBT in this clutch situation, it is Ayumi. 1 versus 2. Ice up on the bomb train, and Medley will find the frag. XOP draw level at 4 apiece.
All right, and XOP, they're going to be wiping some sweat off their foreheads after that one. It was a close affair, but they managed to pick up a win.
And the economy isn't fully set yet for MBT. This is going to be a pretty heavy investment. You can see the FAMAS is coming out. They don't have a lot of cash left in the bank, so there's an opportunity here for XOP to break them and start to make a string of rounds on the T side their own, and then there's potential.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be an interesting buy. Of course, the CZ's coming in for CMY. The rest of the team have a couple other weapons to work with here as out the gates this time around. XOP commit to the other side. Nani getting headshot immediately by Ying as they try to rotate through A main.
2 very easy frags early on. That's such a common peek in towards that connector area, and now the Orgs at range. Ayumi's going to start cleaning house.
This is revenge for last time around. Ying does get taken out, but it's going to be an easy peasy cleanup. Ice manages to get 2. That's crucial to actually remove a couple of the weapons of MBT, but they stack another win.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder, if you're going to AWP peek in towards that connector position, which is literally the most common hold in the world, why is there no flashbang? Why is there no utility usage to allow you to get that peek through? That's even wallbangable from spawn.
I feel like it's a bit of a panic play for XOP. We saw them rush once over by Ivy, and then they rushed A, and this time MBT were much more prepared for it.
Yeah.
We'll see if they temper that aggression this round.
AK's Kriegs, and again, Medley dropping down onto the MAC-10. We did see the utility combining with that MAC-10 to find a nice pick in towards Ivy last time it came out, but...
Yeah, but this is the rush on Ivy from MBT. In fact, you got to be careful if you're Medley. You realize a little bit too late, CMY getting taken out, so this is starting to pay some dividends.
And now with the man advantage, this is where Train starts to get fidgety, because MBT, the rotations towards B will be slow. Ayumi finding some good damage, takes the tag herself in return.
Spread out.
Fairly spread CT side, and this is where XOP can look to isolate.
They have a lot of players over up by B halls. They're going to bring the bomb as well. And there's a crucial elimination by taking down Ayumi. Ice does get dropped, but it's a 3v4.
Japan has time to call this. The Molotov
through the
will
fire.
do good work as well, and that will give her an opportunity. Only able to find 1, however, and now 3 versus 2. The Molly's going to force that AWP off the angle. Drops the smoke to allow herself out, but got to start finding these frags. And the B bomb site very difficult to retake, excuse me, on Train.
Yeah, bomb's down. Looks like the rest of the players will head up towards upper B and try to see if they can get the sight on. Not actually fully committing and moving out into catwalk. And there we go. Yusungu sticking around on the bomb train, getting taken down, and Melalee's eliminated as well. So it's Funny and Ying in a number situation, but that is going to be it, and the defuse will come through.
That was seriously impressive again from MBT, a 2 versus 3 situation, and they just make it work. They're just finding these CT rounds out of absolutely nothing here. Finding themselves rounds that honestly they didn't deserve. In that scenario, 5v4, you'd expect XOP to have a serious chance of executing it, but the late round, nobody's hitting their shots for the T side.
Yeah, when things get turned on its head like that and you have a numbers advantage and you start losing, you got to ask questions. What's going on? Why aren't they able to execute? And we saw this happen consistently on CT for XOP, but now it's starting to happen on the T side as well.
Yeah, they're looking a little bit rattled. I mean, that was a 3 versus 2 afterplant scenario. You can't be losing those. They had such a nice setup as well. The utility's still available. Could have literally lobbed the HG onto the bomb to find a frag on the tagged up players.
They're rushing again.
As again, they're looking for that early presence. And actually, MBT going to get very aggressive. And Japan, she spotted the bomb as well. A pick and the bomb. That is absolutely huge. And Funny finds a second.
It's going to be ice taken out. Once again, Yusungu getting dropped down. And all of a sudden, things are going from bad to worse for XOP. Down to 2 players, both split. The Ivy cover for Oyamad, but nobody's checking there.
Yeah, this is a really awkward situation. And they know exactly where these 2 remaining T-sided players are. The only real opportunity, Nani needs to find a pick out of drop here. He needs to find something to try and work into this round. You can see CMY on that MP9 needs to be a little bit cautious against the AK-47 at this kind of a range, but in a 5 versus 2 situation, the minute just coming and going on the clock, and with a significant tag onto one of these T-sided players, this round's looking all but set as CMY is going to get peaked, and Oyamad needs to get this timing. Won't do so, and that's just a mop-up again. MBT showing us what they can do on the CT side.
Oh, yes, indeed. And now it's all business. No big smiles this time around. They know there was a couple of rounds that they honestly should have lost, but they were able to pick back up at the final second.
Yeah, they pulled off some antics there, and I mean, there was a fair few clutches and a fair few situations where you should have seen XOP just closing it out, but
forced the half buy now for XOP.
Forced the half buy indeed. They're down onto those CZs, just 1 P250 for Nani, and you can see there's still 2 saved AK-47s on the side of MBT, and that's just showing how little they're dying to these rounds, as the CZs are going to go for an Ivy rush, and there's a counter rush from Ayumi.
Ayumi.
The pop flash is good, so she will get the
one. That's going to be the start of it right now, and it's an absolute firefight through Ivy right now. And they've eliminated everyone but Yusungu. Disaster for XOP.
1 versus 4, and just so many fights to take.
Can't even get the finisher onto Ayumi, so they save again, and they pick up another AK.
4 kills in the round for
Ayumi. I think they're just trading these every time.
They literally are. I'll tell you what, though, you could notice how much slower that AUG fires. For anybody who does watch a fair bit of CS, you could hear how much slower that's firing in that clip, but still works out perfectly for MBT. A 4-round lead. They've saved themselves plenty of firepower into this round.
Yeah. I think an interesting change-up for MBT this time around has been the commitment of Ying onto the op as opposed to Ayumi, who's gone much more for the rest of the rifles this time. So we'll see how the stats end up differing. But MBT looking very primed to go into this half. Super confident.
Ice finally starting to use some utility, trying to make her way out of main, but double Molotovs coming in from the CT side, and
the floor is lava.
That's just the money that they have. MBT, they've got so much cash, they can throw so many nades, and that just buys so much time. Those smokes are dropped by the T side to allow this execute to come through. The Molotovs buy a fair amount back for the CTs, and those smokes are going to fade a lot sooner than they normally would. And with 4 players towards this A bomb site, MBT are looking absolutely set.
Yeah, and XOP haven't picked the bomb back up either. So they do lose Ayumi to Oyamad, but they trade back on a Melody almost immediately.
What a shot.
And again, taking out Funny, taking down CMY. This is the chance for XOP here. They've limited to just Japan, and they managed to pick up an op for themselves.
The only opportunity Japan has is the fact that that bomb is still all the way back in spawn. It's a 3 versus 1, but the bomb is yet to make its way towards the bomb site, and that's allowing her a little bit of time to try to work the situation here. Here's that smoke. We'll know the bomb is going down now. 3 versus 1. Needs to hit some serious shots here.
Oh, but XOP absolutely need this round. They have to be covering it, but they lose Oyamad. 2v1. Looking for Yusungu. Manages it. Japan on 16 health in a 1v1.
And Nani has the AWP as well, so this tag doesn't even matter. Starting to clear the angles, but she needs to clear towards Helen. Doesn't look like she's going to cover it. Drops the Molotov to buy a little bit of time, taps the bomb, trying to make her way around, and you can see the pistol switch is there. Japan being baited into the angles.
Got him.
Nani strafing wide with the P250 will find the shot and find XOP a 5th round and get them a seriously decent T-side of Trone.
Yeah, that was much closer than it should have been, though.
To say the least.
Yeah, if XOP can pick up a 6-1 going into the half, they should be okay. But yeah, this has been tense.
Yeah, this has been a serious half of train. Both teams arm wrestle for control, and so far MBT have been doing a good job of maintaining it. Full buy very much on the cards for both sides here. A little bit short on the utility or XOP, but they really haven't been trying too many utility-based executes. As again, the AWP goes for the peak, this time towards stop sign, so learning from previous connector mistakes as Ling going to take the AWP aggressive in towards B.
Oh. When you see that scope up. but it's a much more controlled move out for XOP again. Keeping in tight squads too here. Of course, they still leave Yisungu actually guarding. Oh! And that's going to be that first kill. Ice is dropped as well. Funny managing to get a double. So much for stringing a couple of wins together for XOP. They're just down to Melody and Yisungu. Make that, Yisungu.
Again, just not finding the frags. Like, it was literally just a situation of missed shots as Yisungu has to try and save herself that Krieg, perhaps get some exit round damage, but not going to be able to capitalize too heavily on the tags that her teammates have found. And again, I mean, Funny gets a double kill from top of Green Train, and that was just, they didn't hit the headshot. Simple as Ying has the Whitehall's absolutely covered, hits the shot, even through the wall, just to show off a little bit. MBT get themselves a 9th on the board and looking for double digits on their CT side.
And well on their way to securing it right now. Unfortunately, they didn't pick up the AKs, but I don't think they're too worried about that.
And the buy isn't going to be great either for XOP. They have not got a lot of cash left in the bank. It's going to be the MAC-10s, the UMPs, bringing out those 2 Kriegs onto Nani and Yisungu again. Yisungu, once more, really struggling to get into this game, but the majority of XOP are struggling to find a foothold and hit their shots. As Ayumi, this time going to take the AWP in towards Connector. XOP actually making a fast play in towards the halls.
Yeah, really trying to rush it out. Maybe make a B play. They seem to have had a bit more success on that.
Japan a little bit isolated on the B-bomb site for the time being, so there is room. There is room for XOP to try and work this one. They have presence in towards Brown.
I want to see them try for an upper B play, because every single time it looks like they're going to, at the last second, they move down towards ramp, and ramp is always being watched by MBT.
Yeah, it's such an awkward position to execute out of, especially on this kind of a buy, because you can see Ying has already rotated down through the connector, and that's a hold for upper. That AWP has got such a tight headshot angle towards upper. It makes it incredibly awkward without full utility and indeed an AWP re-peaking that angle to even get out of upper. That's why you're going to see so much of a lower take, as again, the utility is going to drop. The smoke is going to be countered by the Molotov. This will buy a little bit more time. They're actually going to put the molly out and straight up go for it. Japan's getting so much damage. They haven't put the molly out.
And they've got 2 eliminations. The bomb gets dropped down. XOP are scattering. They still might have a chance, but they only can trade 1 kill back onto Japan, and that's bought plenty of time for MBT to come in.
Oh, that was a huge mistake. The smoke to put out the mollies just dropped a little bit too shallow. Only puts out the front half, and then they just get burnt alive, XOP, as now the utility coming through. But Oyuma's able to get 1, traded out by Funny, and now it's all done and dusted. MBT will be getting themselves to double digits in the first half of Train.
MBT just flexing their muscles here, and they will be very happy about how that half has gone down 10-5. Up against XOP, fist bumps all around.
And deserved as well. It was a solid half of CS from MBT, and it looked like they were starting to rattle XOP there. That lack of putting the Molotov out fully with the smoke before coming down did so much damage and made it so awkward for the T side.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I don't know what the fixation with is on ramp. I would love to see them go for upper instead. And they know that there's only going to be one. At least you have to think there's only going to be one guarding. It's always Japan kind of keeping that hold there, whereas everybody else was on A. But as you mentioned, XOP, they seem rattled. You can see it in their faces, too. There's disappointment there.
And I mean, if you isolate the pistol rounds and the rounds immediately after that, because you consider MBT, they eco for 2 rounds after the pistol. So take 3 rounds away from that scoreline. And XOP only got 2 rifle rounds in the entire half.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be their good side.
Yeah, that's
Yikes.
a really awkward situation to be put in. If you take the pistol round away from MBT, they have had a poor half of Train, and they are really going to have to put it back with something special on the CT side.
Yeah, if they want to make it to a 3rd and final map, they absolutely will, but we will switch things up here as XOP go over to the CT side, and let's see if they can find an answer.
And it has to start with this pistol. They need this one to start to build the momentum and stop MBT from even getting even more of a lead. They could easily look down the barrel of 12, 13 rounds if this pistol goes south, and it will be Japan. Couple of flashes, smokes. There's a fair amount of utility. Ying actually sacrificing armor to pick up utility of her own, so looks like it's going to be a very heavy execute from MBT as they do take control of the halls. They're going to go straight down the drop, and there's no cover for the CT side as the smoke gets a little bit of real estate, and they are just going to push straight on out on towards this A-bomb site. Nani not quite hitting the shots, and Ayumi will find the opener.
Yeah, already killing Ice in this one, and Japan does get lost as well. They just turn back around looking for extra damage as they try for the reload, and he just takes him out on that knife kill. Nani getting dropped. Nice little extra money as well as the swag.
And 4 versus 3, the bomb is planted so perfectly. Oyama able to get 1, and Ying looking the wrong way. Actually has to swing, still able to find the frag. And the 3 versus 2, Melody and Oyama, they have health to work with, but these angles are just all too good for the T side. looking very, very strong here. They're just peeking to buy time. That bomb ticking away. There is a defuse kit, but the players are dying all the same. Ying finding a nice shot in a 3 versus 1 now. Melody unable to find anything into it. Funny does secure the pistol round for MBT, and they can really start to build a lead off of that.
Yeah, that's a big disappointment for XOP. They've had their best rounds off of pistols, and this time they lose it. So that's going to be your second buy here. A couple of things coming in. AK does get picked up by Ying, and this is going to be rough if you're extra overpowered.
Yeah, and having found so few frags in that round, they only found 2. There's really no cash to be picking up upgraded pistols. A couple of players with 2300, 2350 could potentially look at P250s, but CT side of train, you want to save that money for utility, so it is going to be fully defaulted pistols. There's 3 MAC-10s going to go very fast through that A-bomb site for MBT, just going to try and farm themselves some cash towards Hell and towards Ivy, straight through the smoke. Ayumi and Japan find entries.
Yeah, that's going to be 2. Already demolishing the likes of... Excuse me, Yasungu was able to find a Yumi on that one, and Japan goes down to Nani. That's going to be just 1 defender remaining, though, and Nani's got almost no health to work with, so that would be a monster hold, but the bomb's down. This one should be over. It was a nice effort to try and take a few rifles out of the game, a few SMGs, I should say.
Yeah, and it's seriously impressive that they found 2 kills with those USPSs. CMY very nearly left to hang out to dry on that bomb plant as Ying does find the final frag. Just desperately trying to spin and get that bomb down, keep his head out of the way of these pistols. 2 frags found, but they were only onto the MAC-10s, which is almost a little bit unfortunate for XOP because it's going to mean less of a bonus round coming in from MBT. They're going to reinvest onto 3 rifles against this full buy coming in from the CT side.
Yeah, a bit of a force here. You can see the FAMAS coming through from Elliot. And this is going to be rough. Let's see if they can hold it out here. Otherwise, they're going to be within 3 of getting 0-2'd in their opening match.
Yeah, and with MBT maintaining the SMGs, there's a lot of scope for information plays. You don't need to get aggressive with your rifles as Japan immediately jumps deep in towards Olaf, drops the Molotov. This is forcing the hand of the CT side as CMY actually finds the opener with the MAC-10. Oyama just about stays alive, but dropping into the Molotov as Ice finds another.
A lot of trades back and forth. Japan managing to stay alive somehow through all of that here, and it's a 3v2, but it might as well count for nothing as the Molotov comes through. It's going to force Ice to back away. So they put that one out with the smoke.
Japan on just 7 points of health on the bomb site. They'll just lurk around that bomb as Ice is trying to take control of back lane. You can see Ayumi in towards Ivy, has read the situation well, is covering a lot of ground. As Melody's still stuck behind the smoke scene connector, is just going to start to peek out right into the headshot angle. Japan not quite able to hit it, but it's good damage done on 7 HP.
Yeah, this next peak could be deadly right now. Ayumi getting dropped down. This is a chance.
And now a 2 versus 1 Funny.
Funny needed that shot, didn't quite get it. Diffuse is coming through and drop down. Finally, XOP will arrest the momentum.
And that was an absolutely essential round for the CT side, keeping 2 players alive, saving an AK and getting the round on the board, 12-6. The economy is not going to be great for MBT. There's opportunity here. They should get a decently strong buy, and you can see Japan very much struggling for cash, but the CT side early on train is very precarious, and you can see that in the economy of XOP, having lost the pistol in the round after that. They've backed down. MP9's very limited cash left in the bank as they pick up utility.
Need to be able to work with that a little bit, and you can see the utility usage has been critical for the CTs to be able to try and pick up some of these kills early on. They'll fan out. T-side, MBT. Looks like they're going to be going down towards White Halls.
Yeah, it's not a great buy for MBT either. You can see Japan dropping down onto the P250. So there's compromises for both sides here, and it's going to be a matter of who can find the shots. Fairly passive early setup from XOP. They are pushing a player aggressively in towards the sandwich.
Is waiting all the way back in alley right now with the bomb just kind of dropped. So this is going for picks first. MBT, slow it down a little bit. Maybe they realize they got a little too aggressive. Open an opportunity for XOP to pick them off. CMY waiting around the side through the smoke.
Just waiting for the opportunity here. They do have presence across the map as Ayumi does make her way out in towards the Ivy position. A little bit of room to breathe as we just take a pause before the action starts. There's still a fair amount of utility across that T side for MBT to execute onto a bomb site of their choosing. As Oyama wants to get aggressive, wants to find the information, but nobody revealing themselves at all for
Everybody's
MBT.
missing themselves on the peaks. It's like 1 ducks in, 1 ducks out. So definitely the slowest round we've had so far because it's been lightning fast up until this point.
MBT have to start thinking about the execute here, and you can see with CMY recovering the bomb, they're starting to come up with a plan. It's 38 seconds left on the clock. They know there's going to be no aggression from XOP. They know they need to be the ones to make their way out to the bomb site as the utility starts to come through. Ayumi could be absolutely crucial here. Funny should be able to get this one. Melody looking the wrong way, but she still finds it as Yusungu makes the MP9 work against Ayumi.
Nanny does get taken out by CMY. Still, though, not very healthy on the T side. MBT are going to have to try and get this one down quickly as they make their way over to Bomb Train. Here, wrap around the side is Ice looking for one. Manages to tag up, but not get the elimination. It's going to be Ying still alive in this. Should be advantage XOP, but the bomb is planted, so they have to move quickly.
Tapping the bomb, and indeed they will stick the defuse. XOP managed to get a 7th. Ying left in an awful position. 1v3, tagged up so low HP. There's very little that they can realistically do in that scenario, MBT. So XOP starting to make their comeback on the CT side.
That was now or never, so I'm glad it's now right now to see if they can hang on for a little while longer, picking up that next round. Very critical for them. You mentioned the economy from MBT wasn't so healthy. I want to see what it looks like this next round. Should be a bit better, but no, not by much.
They're going to be down onto the half bar. It's going to be the pistols, and this is where your CT side starts to happen on Train. You can see even in the first half on the top of the screen there, after that pistol round, it's just started to string CT rounds together like crazy, and it looks like that's going to be the scenario here again. Armor on 4 of the players. Interestingly, Japan has picked up armor utility but no pistol. Don't often see that, but they're going to make their way in towards Ivy, try and isolate Yusungu on this AUG. She'll see the information, call the early play, drops the smoke deep, but counter smoke will lock Oyamid out of this, so it's going to be down to Yusungu. The Molotov buys time, and now she'll start to peek wide.
Yeah, that's pretty critical right now. And Ayumi, oh man. They weren't watching their feet, taking a few shots on the reload. Unfortunately, Yusungu got caught on that one. And that means that there's that first frag coming in. Japan does get dropped down, so does Ying. And Melody and Nanny combo up to just mop up MBT.
I'll tell you what, I take back everything I said about Japan and the Glock. Kill very early on for her. And then Ayumi able to get a second, a little bit unfortunate. The back lane control wasn't really read at all by MBT. They allowed themselves to be gunned down from that position by Melody. So a little bit unfortunate that they couldn't get more done, but 2 frags is 2 frags as well.
Yeah, but for XOP, this has got to be feeling good that you've managed to stop the momentum from MBT for a little while now and start to look towards stacking double digits for yourself.
Yeah, and they've kept the economy in check as well. You can see 5 AKs across the board for MBT. There's not enough cash to get the AWPs out, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for them against the AWP. The AUG, interestingly, still an M4 and 2 AK-47s for XOP, not opting for the scope long-range stuff like we saw from MBT on the CT side.
Okay.
And actually a very different setup. They've put 2 players purposely very aggressive in towards that B-bomb site. You can see the player holding lower, very similar to how Japan did, but you've also got Ice looking to push upper. And this could be absolutely crucial. If she looks to push too aggressively, things get awkward. But for the time being, sitting at the bottom of that ladder, just applying support towards the B-bomb site, allows the AWP of Nanny to stay aggressive in towards Connector a little while longer as MBT do take Brown Hall's control. And it looks like they're posturing towards the B-bomb site.
They are, but the bomb is hanging back a little bit. Man, this is close. Looks like Ying might be the one to peek out over by upper.
It's all going to be about who hits the shots here. 4 rounds the lead at the moment for MBT, and as every round comes the way of XOP, it looks a little bit more like they'll pull off this comeback. MBT fully set up towards the B-bomb site now.
They need to execute. They've got 45 seconds to work with here. But the information game, XOP guarding.
Melody's got that Molotov out. As soon as she sees this, she drops the Molotov, and that buys more time for the CT side.
Ice is just staying locked on that. Molotov comes through. Here we go. Moving in through it. It's going to be CMY opening up, trying to frag out, but
they haven't found Ice.
Not enough. And CMY getting dropped by Ice. Meanwhile, covering up onto Ying. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Cleaned house.
And this round is all but done. 15 seconds left on the clock. Funny and Ayumi left in no man's land. The bomb dropped on the middle of the site. Ice absolutely anchors down B and gets XOP 1 round away from double digits. And this momentum's starting to feel like it's gone the other way.
Ice, ice, baby. That was a great play. Man, 9 rounds as well, and Yusungu does turn it on to Ayumi at the end to finish that one off. XOP, they've got to start feeling a little bit more confident now.
Yeah, and you can see, because Ayumi got killed after time, she's only got $250. No money whatsoever. So the half buy will be coming in around the AK-47. Ayumi may as well fully invest onto a flashbang because there's no way she's going to have any cash into the next round. The pause comes in.
Yeah, this should be an MBT pause.
Yeah, try and work out what they need to do. They had the pistol round success, but 4 rounds after that for the CT side of XOP.
Yeah. Well, and we talk about the match favoring it, but I do feel like XOP have managed to really play better. They're still playing very aggressive. You mentioned how risky it could be, but it is all about hitting those shots. And that time, and a lot of the rounds so far, they have been managing it.
Oh yeah, it is a CT-sided map, but you've still got to make it CT-sided. XOP are hitting their shots well. They're playing the bomb sites really efficiently, and they're making it happen here on Train. And the MBT is indeed the timeout from MBT discussing the strategy. They know they're only 4 rounds away from getting 1-0 in this Swiss bracket, but
I mean, they haven't managed to get around in a while now.
XOP are going to take them the distance here on Train.
That's what you like to see, being able to recover. Mental toughness. It goes both ways on the team. You can see a lot of communication from the Mongolian side right now. They're feeling a lot more confident after what's happened.
Could we see the mythical third map in this matchup?
Could we? I mean, that would be something. We haven't yet today. Of course, it's only been a couple of matches so far.
Yeah, and it will be the half buy coming in across the board for MBT.Baeters. They're going to be down to the Glocks, a P250 onto CMY, but really nothing to work with at all on that T side to try and find something of an execute. The full buy very, very strong for XOP, to say the least. They've managed to keep so many rifles up across so many rounds, as it's a 4-man stack towards A for XOP. Trusting Melody in towards that B bomb site.
This time XOP, they're pulling back a little bit more on A, but keeping that aggressive stance on B side and actually moving back away from it now. Up on the top is Ice. Hero for last round, pre-firing a little bit. Drop back down.
Spam. Not quite able to find it, however. They have got a little bit of IV control here, MBT, and we saw it work out with these Glocks previously, but without the smoke to isolate the fights here, it's going to be very, very difficult to do. You can see Funny with the AK-47, the swing comes through, but Yusungu's got the double.
Oh boy.
Just cleaning up house here, and the AK very late to the party. Can't find
double
anything.
digits. XOP continue to stack it up, and all of a sudden, this is looking a lot more even.
XOP with a 10th round, and I mean, that is quite something considering how they looked on the T side. MBT are just starting to struggle, just feeling like the pressure is starting to get to them here on Train. It is their map pick, of course, so they should be feeling confident on this one. And MP7, there's nothing to really work with at all here. 2 rounds the lead for MBT. They have got the Galil onto a Yumi. There's an AWP for Nani, full buy very much in session for XOP, and they need to hit these shots. Oh, Nani not quite with the reaction times to get the initials.
Very, very close here, Oya mid. Going to be throwing out one of those Molotovs. Yusungu getting dropped down immediately. But Nani turns it around once again. An absolute bloodbath here on the A site. It's 3v2 right now. Nani and Melody trying to hold on. But this is advantage for MBT.
And the long flank is coming in from Melody. She's going to make her way down drop, and that has a potential for timing, but Funny's got it covered. Melody trying to make her way down quietly. That's not going to work. And Nani's left 3 versus 1 with the AWP. As soon as MBT looked like they were struggling, they do manage to bite back, and 3 versus 1, this round's looking all but set.
Nani doesn't necessarily need to save. They've had the money to work with for a little while here. Maybe try to take down some of the rifles that are still sitting on the MBT side. Japan covering the interval, knows that Nani's there. That peek would be deadly. And it's over, doesn't even need to. Ying says, I got this.
Ying got it absolutely covered there, and that is exactly what MBT needed. They even managed to save an AWP, keeping 3 rifles, 2 AKs and an AWP. They're going to have the cash to work with. The pause will come in yet again, but you can see how much money that XOP have here. Most players are on like 8 to 10 grand, so they're going to be fully invested into this one. They'll probably be fully rifle buying into the round after this, even if they lose the next. So the economy is so well built up for that CT side that they've given themselves opportunities to make mistakes and still have cash.
Which is a great position to be in when you're getting down to the wire here. Remember, with double digits on both sides, it's a very close game. Even though MBT managed to pick that one back up and start to separate the round count, it feels like XOP, they found their footing in this, and they just need to stay calm. They just need to be able to deliver on the CT side, finish it out, and we will be going to Mirage if they can manage it. Which
is exactly why they've called the timeout. They're giving themselves a moment. They've lost that round, but they don't want it to snowball into multiple. They've got timeouts to play with, so they take it. They discuss the strategy. They full buy back into the game. And at 13 to 10, we're going right down to the wire again.
Ayumi's the one with the op this time. They've gone back to the tried and true, and it will be looking like most of the members trying to rush through. Oh, man. Fires down. Oyamed, and the drop down. Japan did not expect that.
Not expecting any presence in towards drop is a risky call to make, and it's allowed the man advantage for XOP very early on, and Ice is going to find a second. Ayumi on the AWP, not able to hit the shot. and this is not looking good for MBT. 5 versus 3, they peek into the angle, and CMY hits a beautiful shot to at least try and bring this one back. But it's not looking good at all. The bomb going to be recovered onto the back of Ying. Actually picked up the AWP, has been consistently AWPing on Train. But what can MBT bring to this?
Melody trying to keep the B side covered once more, but it looks like the commitment for MVP is over on A. This is aggressive positioning for Mohamed, trying to keep everybody out. But Ying is just testing the waters here.
Yeah, and it's going to be the timing here onto Melody. If Funny peaks with the right timing, she should get a free kill, and she will just about manage to convert on 35 HP. She's unlocked the B-bomb site. That forces the rotate around, and now there's options for MBT to work with. They've got a tag onto Nani. There's 2 players full HP still for the CT side.
Oh boy, CMY drops down, make the same mistake. Mohamed's right there at the point-blank range.
Oh,
and double drop down! Oh! They thought there was strength in numbers, but all of a sudden that turned sour for MBT. This should be another XOP round.
And Ying forced to try and save the AWP, won't even be allowed to do it. XOP get their 11th, and that timeout clearly working wonders for the CT side as they get right back on track here. Saving 3 rifles, and those drop plays were just, they just didn't get anything done. You've got to try and make something a little bit different down drop. It's such an easy angle to hold, so consistent as well. And MBT just not able to unlock it.
Yeah. It's a game of information, but also a game of inference. You have to know that something could be going on like that, and unfortunately MBT didn't reckon with it. Let's see what they do in this round. 13-11, very close game. MBT within 3 of taking the whole thing, but XOP hot on their heels. And hot on the momentum as well. Looks like it's going to be a 3-stack rotate over to B Halls. Bomb has not been picked up.
Yeah, XOP defaulting back down to that 1 player on the B bomb site. It's Melody playing deep back in towards the oil area. Actually going to start to make presence towards brown trains. She's jumping all over those trains at the minute, Melody. And there is a lot of presence in towards the B bomb site for MBT, so potential to try and pull that execute off as Ayumi just jump peeking the angle. That's to bait out the positioning, try and work out where the players are, and she is spotting them out. But now CMY still trying to contest that Ivy angle. It's going to be very difficult against Yisungu on the August.
Ayumi is nearly finished off.
Down to just 2 HP. MBT really aren't making any progress onto either bomb site here. With a minute left on the clock, they've got to try and find something.
Well, the numbers commitment does seem to indicate it's going to be more B-oriented, but there's still a chance here. The bomb only barely gets carried here. Ayumi. Looks like some indecision coming in from MBT.
They should hit B here. You can see how heavy the presence is towards A from the CT side, and it looks like MBT are going to walk right into the stack here. So many players for XOP. Whoever hits their shot wins this round. CMY in a really difficult position, has to peek wide, but Oyama and Yisungu finding frags, and this is falling apart. Ice desperately peeks. Ying able to get 1, but the trade is instantaneous, and Funny is left in such an awkward spot. Does manage to find 1 on the spray down at range.
Stays alive.
Oh,
that's 2. There's a chance here, but this is going to be really slim here just between Melody and Oyamed on full health. Funny needs to get this plant down. A little bit of extra cash would go a long way, but trying to get the elimination first, and Melody manages it. It's a 1v1. You need to pick the bomb up. You got 5 seconds. It's not happening.
She has to hit the shot, and Oyamed knows it. Hides in towards Hell, stays alive, finds the frag. So close, but so far for MBT. Funny nearly coming up absolutely huge, but without the bomb on her back, nothing she could do in that scenario.
There's another map where we've seen the momentum swing after the half. XOP are now within 1 of tying MBT.Baeters.
Just not able to find it. The 4 spies coming in across that T side. They know how important every round is now. They're picking up 3 MAC-10s, 2 AK-47s. They're on max loss bonus. They have to invest every single time, but XOP are making it happen on the CT side, as this time MBT going to look for the fast rush out towards Olaf. Haven't seen this from them yet. Can they make the fast play work out? The Molotov's going to do so much damage. Funny and Japan so low on HP as they go straight through the smoke, straight into the grinder. Ice with a double. And once again, MBT looking like they're out of ideas.
Yeah, I got to give some big credit to Ice on Train. She has stepped up. We're seeing a lot more frags coming out here, and it's just down to Ying. MBT trying to get 1 here, spraying around the side. Looking for that damage off of green, but it's going to be enough for XOP to pull within even.
13 all. Who would have predicted it after such a strong first half from MBT? XOP shown us what they can do on the CT side of Train. And don't forget, this is MBT's map pick. They took XOP's map pick away from them, but now they can't make it happen on Train.
And now it's time for MBT to be taking that pause, say, what is going on? We've got to settle down. We've got to get back to this execution. They're still within 3 of taking it, but so are XOP.
Exactly. And I think for MBT, I'd really like to see a full utility execute here. We haven't seen them completely lock out that A-bomb site with smokes, and I think that could be the key, or even lock out the B-bomb site with utility.
I was going to say they've ignored B half the time. It does seem like it's a bit telegraphed that they want to commit onto the A site more often than not. And that information inadvertently given to XOP means that they can more fully commit to the defense.
Yeah, and this might be the opportunity to just pull out the B rush, because you saw in the previous few rounds XOP committing 4 players fairly heavily in towards that A bomb site, leaving just 1 to defend B. If you can isolate that fight, it is a long rotate from Ivy to get through to that B bomb site. You buy yourselves time, you buy yourselves an afterplant position, maybe there's opportunity.
Might just be a chance here, but with that pause coming through, you can see the faces kind of stony there. MBT realizing that this could very easily go the other way, and they could be forced to defend on Mirage. Here comes the movement out from MBT in this next round. Only a few left to go, unless it can get all tied up and we end up going into overtime.
And the buy is not good at all from MBT. They're down onto the Galils, the MP7s, the MAC-10s. No AKs in sight. Ying even struggling to pick up the Deagle and armor. What can MBT pull off here, as they are looking to throw the smokes for an execute? Do they have the firepower to back this off? Smoke off Con, smoke off the gap, and they are going to get their way out towards the E-box here.
They've tagged Ayumi and Funny. Just not enough to actually get the finishers right now. XOP, though, still in a great position to keep this defense going, and this is going to rush onto A, and Ice is going to try to hold this line as Nanny's been dropped down. That was the op. Up to the top of train goes Ayumi. Unfortunately, didn't see Ice at all. Headshot coming through here, and this is the back away from MBT. Bomb is planted on the site. They just need to defend it here, but it's going to get harder and harder for that to do with only a 16 health. Japan. Bomb's going to get defused. That's going to be it. XOP will take yet another round.
And XOP will take the lead. Could that be the key? Now just 2 rounds away from taking this matchup here on train and forcing us through to the 3rd map, which is Mirage, which is a map both teams play. This one could go anyway right now.
It looks like we are going the distance here, Wolfie. 12 seconds till the next round here. MBT have to be kicking themselves. The execution, their economy hasn't really been helping them out. This time around, they can much more fully invest in the utility and the guns. They've got AKs and an op on Ying.
Could that be the catalyst? Ying's been so good with the AWP here on train.
There's the split. Looks like they're going to be going for a couple down alley towards Ivy.
Funny looking for any kind of a peek here, any information that MBT are willing to find from XOP could be huge. Nanny peeking the stop sign, looking for the shot, and Ayumi's playing with fire, jump peeking that angle, very difficult.
She's done that before, and it's worked out okay, but you never know the one time you don't check. Another jump peek. Ice keeps the scope on this time.
MBT, they want XOP to get aggressive somewhere. You can see them all holding fairly passive angles. They're waiting for somebody to peek, and it's just not happening for MBT. And it means they're running out of time. They're sitting in these defaults for so long and without any success that when it comes down to it, their executes are looking a little bit rushed. Ayumi holding in towards A main as everybody just takes a breath. 57 seconds. Where will they look to execute this one, MBT? Where will they look to find the round? Smokes come out towards B.
When we've seen XOP in a deficit, what seems to happen is they get a bit flustered and they go over-aggressive. It seems like it's the opposite for MBT. They get indecisive. Now you see Japan moving in here towards Ivy. It's isolated. There's nothing here. They can actually converge on the A side, but you got to be careful. CMY getting dropped down by Ice on the peak. It looks like it's turnabout fair play for Japan on that wraparound. They didn't reckon with it. It's going to be a 4v3 advantage for MBT, trying to pit this plant down. They manage it.
Oh, Nanny on the AWP almost gets the frag onto Funny, who just about retreats into sandwich on time. That could be key, though, as Ying does find a frag. Nobody knows Nanny's here. Japan will peek into it, though, and now it's a 4 versus 1.
This is MBT's round right now. Oyamid getting dropped down. That will be it. 14 all.
And that actually comes from an over-rotation from XOP. You saw the fake smokes coming out from MBT on towards that B bomb site. And XOP committed 3 players to the B bomb site without seeing anybody, without seeing any presence from MBT.Baeters. There was just utility, and that allowed the T side just to waltz their way into that A bomb site as we see the replay.
Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah, Japan did a great job on that one for sure.
And and it's given MBT a lifeline. Of course, the full buy is in for XOP, so it's going to be the most difficult lifeline they've ever had to try and execute off of. Ling, again with the AWP in hand.
That's Nanny on the opposite side, of course. Everything else pretty standard, apart from nice on the FAMAS. And let's see if MBT take their time once again. Bomb has been dropped down over by Dumpster. They're going to wait to see if they can get that information play. Jump peeks again for Ayumi. But Oyamed's wise to this one.
Nobody wants to be the player to give up that opening frag. Ayumi lobbing a couple of flashbangs, but not finding too much at all, as MBT are looking to converge now. Could look to play the mind games here. Could throw the same nades they threw for the fake towards B and then actually execute B. I think that would be a really intelligent move. And MBT are starting to make their presence in towards that brown halls. They do have a little bit of map to work with, and currently Medley is alone towards this B-bomb site.
XOP trying to take as much advanced positioning on A as they can. You can see Ice is very far forward here, but as you pointed out, Melali solo guarding B. If MBT go for the full commit on this, they might be able to overwhelm, get the plant down before XOP can respond.
And if you get the plant down on the B-bomb site and you have Molotovs still available, it's very, very easy to hold it in the afterpart scenario. The utility is being thrown. The Molotov from Melali buys time, though, and you can see the rotate already in from Nani. And Melali alive on the site could go absolutely huge here. Spray down's good for one. Japan trying to find the shot, can't find it, as Nani manages to get a second, and finally Ayumi responds onto Ice, trying to play that fast play up the drop. But Melali still so aggressive on this.
Another smoke comes through. No one can see a damn thing here, and it looks like there'll be another kill picked up. Nani going down. Yasungu manages to get Japan, and it's a 1v2 looking for the defuse. XOP.
It's just so smart from Ayumi. She gets really aggressive, finds the first shot, can't find the second.
That's going to be it. The defuse will come in, and XOP will be on match point.
What a game of CS. 15-14 the scoreline. MBT needing a round to take this one to OT. XOP needing just one more round to take this game to a third map.
First time we'll have it today, and XOP, man, they really got their swagger back. Last round is in. There'll be buys on both sides. Full AKs for MBT.
Yeah, the buy isn't great for XOP. They're dropping down onto the FAMAS. Their utility is limited on the CT side, so there's potential here for MBT.Baeters to force an overtime, and that would be absolutely huge. They've struggled immensely on their T side as the early nades come out. Oyama getting very aggressive early on towards D.
That's one drop, though. Double drops. Japan is taken out by Nani. That's the op they needed. And they're blocked from moving in. The Molotov buys more time for XOP to get into a good position. This A site continues to be woeful for them. Ayumi does manage to find Ice. And Funny's dropped down. This is rough. MBT on the verge of losing it all. Would force a game 3 here for XOP.
4 versus 2. Ayumi and Ying, 2 of the high-flying players for this MBT lineup, but nothing to be done. It's all down to Ying. Oh, she's
doesn't find the shots. That's one, though. Yasungu's dropped. But it's just Ying. That's it. We're going to Mirage.
What a game of CS. 16-14 the final scoreline. XOP just about bringing it back on map 2, and both teams winning the opponent's map picks.
Yeah, that's relief on the side of XOP, and it has turned around with the map picks kind of not going the way each team's expected it. Oh boy, what a tense round of train.
What a game of CS. I mean, wow, XOP make it
I'm on the edge of my seat, quite literally. Oh boy.
CT side, that is quite something.
I mean, we were talking about how the CT side, based on Dust 2 performance, looked atrocious for XOP, but they really proved us wrong. They turned it around after a few rounds where we thought, okay, well, this is happening all over again. No, they managed to pick it up using the fact that CT is much more favored on a map like Train, and just picking up the win.
It was just seriously impressive Counter-Strike from XOP. They really started to feel at home in that second half, really started hitting their shots, and I think that was the most important thing, because it doesn't matter if a map's CT-sided. If you're not hitting your shots, it's not happening, and XOP did it.
And MBT, I think, they kind of failed to really adapt to that. Not just because, well, okay, it's hard when all of a sudden the other team is getting a lot more accurate on the shots, but they also realized on the XOP side where MBT wanted to go. They kept trying to rotate A. Ayumi kept jump peeking through that little doorway, and it didn't really give a lot of room to to really vary anything, and that was the issue. And all of a sudden, it just became like clockwork. XOP cleaned up. Yes, they lost the odd round here or there, but they just looked so much better after they knew the information.
Yeah, it looked like MBT were waiting for a CT aggression from XOP that never came. It looked like they were expecting the Mongolian side to play that aggressive Counter-Strike we saw on Dust 2, which didn't work for them, but they'd adapted. They'd reacted to the situation. They'd gone, okay, our CT side aggression didn't work, so we're just going to hold back. We're going to play passively. That worked towards the end on Dust 2, and it worked to perfection on Train.
Yeah, really good stuff from the Mongolian team to really adapt, pick it back up. I think if you're MBT, you go back to the drawing board, think, okay, what didn't we change? What can we do here on Mirage? It should be much more even footing because both teams kind of had their confidence on their map. It was taken away from them. This was a very close round, though, I will say. Despite the fact that MBT lost that one at the end, they really kept it down to the wire. Yeah. XOP had to kind of overcome a mountain. They really climbed all over to get that win back at the end of the day, and they might be relieved at the minute. They'll have some time to go back, say, okay, all we need to do is execute this one. We can still take it out. But all the same, it could still fall for them if they fall back into those bad habits of getting over-aggressive when they're panicked.
Yeah, there's potential for this third map to go on, honestly, completely either way. Both teams play Mirage. Both teams like playing Mirage, and we are going to Mirage. So both teams are going to feel confident, and both teams can draw from both maps. I mean, MBT, you're drawing from Dust 2 and you're going, okay, we had a fantastic time on Dust 2. We played really well on their map pick. XOP are going, we just beat them on Train. So both teams are going to be feeling confident in bits and then perhaps a little bit less confident in other elements of their game.
Yeah, take a look at the MVP. Of course, it was Ice, and this is what we talked about, really stepping it up on Train. 23 kills and a couple of opening ones to pair it off. I really liked that triple that she was able to spray down earlier on.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of comparison, it's almost the opposite story of the map. Ayumi went absolutely huge for her team. ADR very, very similar, and I think that really says it. All these two players were absolutely stepping up for their respective teams, and we will see the snipers as well. And I mean,
it was Ying this time around instead of Ayumi actually being the one sniping as much as possible. Better KD, yeah. Better rating, but Nani still showed up.
Yeah, I mean, both players had a really good time with the respective AWPs. So Ying was certainly an impact player for the MBT side, as we do see the stats for XOP. And I mean, look at the spread of kills. Between 21 and 23 kills, you have 4 players, and it's such incredible teamwork. As it's almost the same story for the MBT side. It's just CMY not quite able to find her own on Train, and you do wonder if she'd had a few more frags here and there, how things would have gone.
Yeah, but look at Funny's score, too. I know you said it was really close, but just in terms of KD, Funny really performed excellent, and I think a lot of that had to do with finding those odd angles that she was able to wrap around, and honestly, no one really saw her coming.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, it was an incredibly close game at the end of the day. The scoreline says 1-0 to XOP, well, 1-1 in the standings, but it was much, much closer than that, and I think you've got to give credit to MBT for taking it right down to the wire against a team who were invited to this tournament.
Yeah, they could absolutely have gotten that 2-0. It was just the strength of XOP that was able to keep them alive in this one, and they will have another chance to tangle it out on Mirage, and I can't wait to see how they deliver, because that is a team that definitely overcame some big mental hurdles. You could tell how dejected they seemed after that first map, after their own picked map, Dust 2, fell apart for them, and they managed to pick it back up. I think it really all came in that turnaround from the pause. We were talking about it. There's a lot of communication between this team. All of a sudden, they focused up, and it looked like a different squad.
Yeah, I think this third map is really going to be an interesting one. Both teams are going to be playing a lot of mind games. They've had 2 maps to get to know each other, to know exactly how everybody plays. So it's going to be a lot of stratting and anti-stratting, as we are going to head to a very brief break, and we'll be back with map 3 before you know it. Stick around.
How do you reveal the hidden enemies in PUBG? Adjust the black equalizer to brighten darker areas, which makes it easier to spot enemies hiding in the shadows. How do you make your PUBG experience more diverse and convenient? Color Vibrance allows for more realistic and vibrant colors. It also provides the convenience to tune colors in-game, making you see the change instantly. Save up to 3 different settings based on your preferences, and use the S switch to quickly change between those settings.
and welcome back once again to the ZOWIE DIVINA Women's CSGO Asia Championship. We are into the second match of the day, and we are going to a map number 3. It has been a good one, Wolfie, but now both these teams, Malaysia, Mongolian, they'll be laying it out on Mirage.
Yeah, now's the time to really show what you're made of. Both teams have taken their opponents' maps today. This is the neutral ground. This is the last map that's left to separate what are two incredibly close teams. So whoever takes it here, it gives themselves a real opportunity in terms of the Swiss standings. Yes,
it does, indeed. Only a couple of days to really move your way up into the playoffs. The best teams will be the ones that are able to do it. And, you know, I think after that first match on Dust 2 where it was picked by XOP and it turned into kind of a crushing defeat for them in the second half when they were forced onto CT side, there were some questions being raised. You know, this is an invited team. Well, what's going on with that? Why were they getting so thoroughly crushed by a team that had to qualify in there? But they really proved their worth here on the second time. On train, when it seemed like they were going to be so far down after that, they picked it back up. They etched that victory, and now they've forced this map 3 onto Mirage. We'll have to find out how it all goes down as we are loading up into it. MBT will start off on the CT side, XOP on T's.
Interestingly, a good amount of utility picked up by XOP, and that's the smoke lineup coming out very early on. A couple of flashbangs to work that as well. That smoke's going to drop down into connector as the upgraded P250 of Nani tries to take the early combat in mid. A very fast strat as they are going to look to collapse onto the B-bomb site here.
Looks like bombs going through apartments right now, and MBT kind of wise to this. They do manage to pick one up. CMY is able to get 2 before getting dropped by Ice. Still numbers advantage for MBT on the pistol round.
And they've got plenty of presence in towards B as well. It's a very long rotate coming in from that initial mid peak. And you can see in the apartments they've yet to get this bomb down. The bomb's still stuck on the back of Ice, and that's a beautiful shot from Funny. Even getting damage onto Ice. And this is not looking good at all for XOP, but Ice looking to correct that.
Well, Ice has had some pretty solid plays on train. Let's see if she can continue here on Mirage here. Ew, that was close, but Ying does get taken down. All of a sudden it's still a 2v2, but the health bar is making all the difference.
2v1.
Yeah, that's it. Ayumi's going to be the only one for defense. This should be an XOP round unless Ayumi can clutch it out. She only needs a shot apiece.
Ice spots the player out, and that could be absolutely huge here. Ayumi has no idea, and XOP out of nothing secure themselves the pistol round.
And a cheer goes up for them as well. This is starting to see that that enthusiasm MBT had all the way back in map number 1 is infectious after all.
That was quite something of a pistol, and it looked, for all intents and purposes, like MBT had that one set. CMY showing up on the pistol round in style. 2 quick taps to the head to get a couple of entry frags for her team, but the rest of the guys not quite able to make the frags happen, and it will be the SMG buy once again from XOP. Picking up that scout onto Nani. The AK comes out, and it's SMGs for the remainder of the roster.
I do like this. It's kind of calling back to earlier today when we see Celeste just picking up a whole bargain bucket of everything on that first buy. And we'll see what XOP can get done with this. Mongolian side spreading out here, still looking more towards B. Bomb's not been picked up yet, though, of course, and Japan just narrowly living as Ice gets dropped.
Funny capitalizing on that early damage done by a teammate to find an opening frag. It is the MP7 down. That is one of the more expensive SMGs available as well. And the man disadvantage for XOP, they need to start hitting their shots, and they need to start hitting them now, even if Japan is on just 1 point of health here. She's still alive, and she can still do damage as it looks like the bomb is starting to queue its way up in towards this B-bomb site.
Yeah, similar play as last round. Of course, you can see that Ying is sort of covering this entrance pretty well at the moment, strafing back and forth. You can see CMY could be looking in for a wraparound as well, and here comes the rest, and they did not expect that. The drop down comes through, 1 elimination already, and Ying somehow avoids the damage, but not this time. Getting finished off there. CMY Japan managed to find Melody and Elmod.
And on 1 HP, finding another frag, as now Nani on 27 will be found, and the eco works out perfectly for MBT.
And they even managed to pick up a couple of guns off the back of it. They snagged the scout and the AK.
That is absolutely insane. Things level at 1 apiece, and that was all down to just players hitting their shots, and Ying staying alive for so long in that situation underneath the apartments. That is such a frequently checked angle. She gets the frag, but not only that, she then swings out and gets damage for 70 HP onto the second player with the AK, and that is absolutely critical. Allows her team to secure the round and sticks XOP back on the eco.
Yeah, this time XOP decided to maybe move in a different direction here. They're more committing towards A, and it's not a full rush in. Actually just going to be going through Palace. And it's a calm, collected response from MBT, covering as many intervals as they can, but they do have T. They do have a couple on A site. Ayumi looking for the Molotov play. Does manage to find it right in the middle of it all. That's a lot of damage as Youngsu and Melioli drop, and so is Nanny. And they only managed to pick up Funny for their troubles. That is a costly push.
And no bomb down either for the T side. The Molotov stopped that perfectly. Then that Molotov's going to force him out wide. Ayumi with the scout in hand will find the shot. MBT managing to convert after that early eco success, and that was quite something.
Yeah, Ayumi killing him with her own weapon. And I don't know what XOP was thinking in that particular situation, but they ran smack dab into a perfect spot for Ayumi's Molotov.
Yeah, it was an understandable play from XOP, given they only had the Glocks. They're looking for that bomb plant. They're looking for the $800. A little bit confused as to why we didn't see the pop flashes coming out that were lined in towards the A ramp. That would have potentially given them the time to get the bomb down. If you blind the guy with the Molotov, then it's all the easier to get the bomb down, get the after plant, and get the cash. As the early peek on the pistol is not going to find anything.
Speaking of pop flashes, about 2 on everybody from MBT, and you see almost no utility there on the opposite side since XOP been forced into that eco. Again, they lose Melioli. Oh boy.
CMY getting aggressive, and the CZ up close and personal could do the damage here. Won't be able to do it though. CMY flicks well. I was a little bit worried there, but finding the shot, using the utility to escape without too much damage done as well. You can see Nanny desperately trying to get something done with these Deagles. They need to try and find some shots, try and do some damage, but
otherwise this round's a wash.
Just being flushed out here. The utility for MBT giving them so much room to work.
XOP, it does feel like this team has been stymied early. We know they like to get off to a rolling start, and unfortunately it just doesn't seem to be happening here on Mirage.
Ice able to get one onto Ying. Takes down the short control.
It is a 3v3 now.
There's potential.
Yeah, there's a chance, but it's still pistols versus rifles. That's not going to be easy. Funny guarding this angle.
Yeah, watching the wrong angle, in fact. She's got presence to her left, and she's not very careful. She could be in trouble here. Nanny very up close and personal with the Deagle. Going to be using it more like a shotgun at that sort of range, but oh, Funny playing with fire here.
All right, slow rotate back towards A. There's a chance they can still get this plant off. 30 seconds remaining. Ayumi keeping that scope up. Bomb handed off, and they managed to take one down. There's a chance to get this plant off, but it's Ayumi taken out. So here's the chance last minute, though. CMY will rush towards with that AUG, but I don't think there's much of a chance to really wipe anyone out here, and they managed to salvage some rifles. Oyamad does grab that op, and Nanny gets an AK back, and XOP get the round back to 2-2.
Neither team is willing to give this one up. Both teams on ecos and half-buys finding success, and you can see XOP very, very happy with that, and so they should be. The Deagle's working out to perfection. Even after they lose the early man to MBT, it just looked like the CT side perhaps got a little bit too comfortable, letting themselves be a little bit too exposed to angles, and you saw Funny very aggressive on that peek into Palace, and that just left her so vulnerable to Nanny and Connector. It was an easy frag to find, and the round sort of collapsed off of that.
Yeah. And one of those AKs, I think the one from Melody, just been traded back and forth a couple times now. But here comes the buy, double op in. Oyamad and Nani.
Yeah, not something you normally see at all. T side of Mirage picking up that double AWP setup as you see XOP looking for mid, and that is a very hotly contested area in this map. Does tend to be the key focal point of most of the engagements as Japan trying to hold short with the AUG in hand. You can see Ayumi's had to drop down onto the MP9. Taking that in towards the jump peaks as now the pressure's coming in towards Connector, and the shots have to be hit.
Lit. That's Youngsu as well. Japan finding not just one, but two on the scope dog.
And that is exactly what MBT needed. They needed early round success, and they found it. A nice double peak to open things up. Japan finding two easy enough frags. Ice might get the refrag on this shot, and she will find the dink. Down to 14 HP through the wall. The nade might well finish him off. Not quite able to, down to 3 HP. Japan staying alive on low HP seems to be something he's good at on Mirage. As Ying holding the angle short, it's going to be punished by the AWP.
All right. Round still alive here, but XOP needs to make moves if they want to get this plant down. It looks like they're eyeballing B, and they'll be going through apartments. MBT. And to realize this, there's actually a wraparound from Ayumi. There's a chance for a pincer.
Yeah, CMY has to stay alive on the site, though, as Ice goes into the early peak, clearing too many angles at once. That's all too easy. The utility is coming out for XOP, but is it too little, too late? 4 versus 2, and Nanny not able to hit the shot. CMY.
Save the op at this point.
And the flank from Ayumi.
No chance. Hello, CMY. Oyame manages to get that kill. Still a chance, but well, that would have to be a hell of a clutch, and yeah, there's no time to really get it.
That was an awesome shot to deny the flank around. CMY again repeating the antics of the pistol round on that B-bomb site. 2 frags, 2 headshots. 2 easy kills to get her team the lead again, 3-2. This one looks like it's going to be just as close as the previous maps.
And it has been a lot of close Counter-Strike today. Really good to see the parity here as the pause comes in. Some of the best teams in women's Counter-Strike here in the Asian region, and you know why. A lot of communication happening through as this is a pause, actually from the Mongolian side, but it will be taken full advantage of by their opponents.
Some heavy discussion there on MBT, perhaps some strategy work. They've looked good so far on the CT side. They have been dismantled in places, but if they sort of shore up against the pistols, stop being quite so aggressive, not be so complacent about what XOP can do with those pistols, I think there's a lot of potential for the underdog team to pull something off here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more of a proactivity thing, right? The time when they got really wiped on pistols, it was just they didn't move a lot. They kind of didn't peek out from their angles. They just sort of stayed where they were, and it allowed XOP to kind of move into their territory undetected. Yeah,
absolutely, and you can't do that against pistols because you will just get punished. They'll get the information and they'll punish you off of that. So the lead is narrow, 3-2 at the moment for MBT. Both teams looking very confident on Mirage. Both teams knowing their angles, hitting their shots, and hopefully we'll be getting right back into it very shortly. Both teams look absolutely fired up to get into this game as well. Of course, the winner will be taking a 1-0 in the Swiss bracket, where 2 wins actually takes you straight through to the finals day, so something to be playing for here.
Yeah, and of course, it is a good time to really remind everybody what the teams are playing for. Out of all these squads, only 2 of them will progress to the DreamHack Challenge over in Valencia later on in this year. Won't actually have a grand finals being played because it is just the top 2 that will be able to qualify. So, 2 spots up for grabs in this event.
And I mean, for some of the teams here, you look at teams like XOP who really haven't had the chance on the stage before. Something like that would be a huge boost, not only to them individually, but to the organization and to women's CS in general.
I mean, how often do you see it? It's not just women's CS, but it's also, I think, for a team coming out of Mongolia in any esport, you don't often get to see a team representing that country on any sort of big stage, and I think they're carrying, kind of the weight of the home country with them as well.
Absolutely. And it will be the half buy coming in from XOP. They've opted to force everything they can afford. AKs, Kriegs, 1 lonely AWP on ice. The buy's not great for MBT either. FAMAS's and very limited utility on a few of those players. So let's see if the orgs still work.
Unless they jam, I don't think I worry about it too much, but they definitely might want to keep their scopes on this time around, as Funny's doing. Slow movements from XOP. It looks like they're split here. A couple looking to go through back alley and the rest in mid. Minus, it looks like Nanny sitting split over by a ramp. But no commitment just yet. Backing away. Trying to get that information early on.
Yeah, it's a really nice proactive play by CMY here. Getting aggressive in towards the apartments. Drops the smoke deep. And that's giving like so much rotation opportunity here. You can see Ying making her way in towards middle, and there's no presence on the B bomb site anymore. CMY in that aggressive spot has allowed the rotations to come in, but Ice with the quick peek opens things up, and now it could get a little bit awkward for MBT. They have that presence. The flank is coming in for CMY, but can the remainder of the team stay alive long enough? Ayumi gets the first, has to back off the angle, but there's more connector presence to come.
And trades back and forth there. Funny's going to get dropped as well. And Ice and Oyamad, now it's just down to Youngsu.
Manages to get the first shot in towards CT. That's Ayumi down. It's a 2 versus 1. The bomb is on the back of Yosungu.
Need that plant, though.
Got to get that bomb down. And
going to be able to do it.
Molotov and a HE available for the CT side to try and flush this player out, and they're going to do just that. Force them wide on the
spray,
peak.
1v1.
Spray's good for 1. CMY peeking from the top of stairs, but now it's all down to the CT player to make the aggressions and walk into the crosshairs. But what a flick from CMY. 4-2. She was looking completely the wrong way towards the ramp. 90 degrees to the right. Removes the head, and XOP down by 2.
That was a close one, though. It really could have gone either way, and it's just about making sure you have the right angle. Oh, boy. Keeping it very close is XOP, but unfortunately for them, they lose that round. And MBT be feeling a little relieved after that. Buys will come through.
And
Ogs in tow.
Going to be down onto those pistols. Deagles again.
1 CZ2. Lonely for Yosungu.
And I mean, we've seen what XOP can do with the pistol, so nobody's writing them off yet. It is a very strong buy, again, for the MBT side. They don't have a lot of utility, though. Those rifles that were dropped in the previous had to be rebought, and it's left a fair few players without any nades.
This is a rush up through apartments.
It's a fast B rush.
Yeah, they're looking for it right now. And this might just overwhelm CMY as they get the drop down on, and in the scope, that's going to be a trade 1-for-1, but it's not nearly enough. XOP, they will be dropping out Oyamed. Actually, it's just fish in a barrel here as Ying managed to find heaps of kills, and XOP did not reckon on that fast return to B site.
All too easy. The dropout, one at a time, just taking them out as they fall. That simple counter-strike for Ying. A little bit of aim warm-up in round number 7. As it's quickly dispatched by MBT. This was a much better use of the rifles against pistols from MBT. They didn't let their players get picked off. They played proactively, and the rush just got dismantled, to be honest, as it will be the buy again. Melody dropping down onto the MAC-10 seems to be a fairly common occurrence if they need more utility. As XOP, they're going to go for a straight A setup here. Full utility, completely lock out the A-bomb site and give themselves the best opportunity to get the bomb down they can. All
right, hanging back for a moment. There is one forward position here from Moyamed in front of Palace. The smokes will come down here. Yep, they're just using all that utility to try and keep them away from A site as long as possible. Still a minute and 20 to play, and here comes the movement.
Dropping down in sandwich. The timing is so good for Funny, and Ayumi still wreaking havoc from CT.
Man, they just made everyone from XOP disappear. Oyamed's wondering where her teammates went. And this one's going to be it. Unless she can get in there, clutch out 1v4, and still get enough time to plant the bomb. I think it's a save.
Got to try and keep your hands on that AK-47. There was so little economy left at the start of the round. She'll go wide on the peak, and Ying will take those frags all day long. But it was a nice setup from XOP. They had all the rifles, all the nades, and they threw them fairly decently. But a little bit of an unusual play came through from MBT. Funny, dropping down into the sandwich. Ayumi just wreaking havoc from in towards that CT area, and it just worked out absolutely perfectly. The AWP ringing out in the hands of Ayumi, finding frags as we are just taking another brief pause. XOP looking a little bit worried there. That A execute is an easy enough thing to pull off, and they did get the nades in all the right places. It was just proactive play from MBT that worked it out in the end.
Yeah, that's the difficulty here, is it really does just come down to the execution and knowing that your opponent can react in time. Sometimes you have to take that risk, and unfortunately they forced into a bad situation economically once again. And even with the loss counter kind of full up there, they'll still get that bonus from it all. It's a rough situation. You're forced into pistols again, and you don't have any utility. Pretty much the only person who has anything is Ice, and that's just a bit of armor. So we do have a bit of a half bite coming out, so there's the CZs, and now they will be able to pick up at least a tiny bit of utility. But they're going to be going for a rush through mid once again.
Yeah, it's a fairly common thing on the pistol round. They take their presence straight in towards the middle area. You can see Japan peeks in towards low with that smoke, but that allows XOP to get so close to this. Hot Flash comes through, and she'll get the information, but there's so many players she can't find anything. Ice double dink to the head, takes down Japan, and now 5v4. These orgs need to equalize, but the unscoped accuracy's down, and Nani will find a second. 5v3. There's damage to work with here.
There's the chance. The question is, where do they commit to at this point? I think they might be able to, after picking up at least one of those rifles, move over into A site, but they will be fanning out, just trying to play this one calm because they know they can get more frags, deny some of that economy. Ying moves through, cleans up Yisungu.
Still got all of that mid presence to work with. They don't really have anywhere else on the map, so looking to exploit it. A nice tag onto Ying, and you can see instantly the pistol coming up close and personal. Ice headshots for days with that P250, and it's all down to CMY. 1 versus 4, being flanked from all sides. Will hit the first headshot. There's a tag to work with onto Nani, who's just on 6 points of health, and Ice is on 31, but they're using all of that utility they've retrieved off of the CT side.
Nani. Oh boy, 1v1, 1v2, excuse me. Ice and Oyamed, and that is going to be XOP picking another round back up, and that was crucial. Also managed to get a couple of Augs off of it.
And I mean, that's the second round they've picked up. Of the 3 rounds they've won on the T side, that is the second they've achieved with just pistols. And if you're looking at this from an MBT point of view, you've got to be thinking they have to shut those rounds down. They're gifting rounds to the T side. They're winning the rifles, they're winning the difficult ones, and then they're making messes of the pistols.
Yeah, kind of an odd turn of events when you think about it. But for XOP, they'll take those.
No, they'll take everything they can get as it's 6-3.
Oh man, full AUG buy.
The
Ops are getting a little expensive. Let's go back down. It looks like they wanted to save room for some utility, but only Ayumi and CMY have really full setup on that.
Again, the same mid setup early on, coming from the rifles this time. Nice angle from Ayumi, is a bit of a headshot angle. XOP looking to use all of that utility, make sure that they can lock out this mid presence before they choose to execute onto either map. It just makes those CT rotates a little bit harder and keeps you a little bit more guessing, as Melody knows this is a headshot angle, but she's been spotted out. All the damage is being done, but can't save her teammate. Melody gets one, Funny and Ayumi trading out at 1 apiece, so 4 versus 3, but Ying looking to get aggressive, and the timing is key. Japan somehow gets his head ripped off by Nani. There's damage to work with, but it's 3v3, and Ying has to come from short.
Just down to Nani and Yusungu right now to try and push this one forward, and they're going to be backing off. Molotov's in. Ying has to make moves to get out of that fire. Doesn't get tagged too badly by it, but Ayumi is taken out by Nani. Looks like that one was off screen. 2v2 situation now.
Oh, the timing on that Ying.
Oh boy, and that's it.
There we go.
MBT back to winning ways.
Just about holding on, and again, it's against the rifles. They make it happen. Nani hitting some serious shots with that Krieg in hand, but not quite able to clutch the round out. A couple of timings going the way of the MBT side. Not expecting quite so much presence into the window, I don't believe. You saw Ying dropping down from that ladder position into window with the Molotov. I think they thought she'd pushed out. And instead, she waited in time and got the frag she needed. So 7-3 the scoreline. A MAC-10 again for Melody.
Melody really does like that MAC-10.
Alt for Nani as well.
Stack that money as much as you can. But they do manage to get a lot more for their buck this time around. XOP, let's see what they can get done. Fanning out once again. Default position here. They try to get some information, maybe a couple of picks before they move forward with the bomb. Just behind apartments.
Nani on that lonely AWP in towards middle, the only AWP on the server at the moment. Gonna have to be the instigator for this XOP side. AWP has to show up on these kind of maps and these kind of games as actually a slow creep out of a ramp, and they haven't spotted the head of Ayumi. You can see the top of her head on this map. You can see it right now, but Ice hasn't spotted it, and neither player has spotted the other. A little bit of a Mexican standoff occurring as the execute towards B is faked by XOP. Nani's been taken down by Japan. Now Melody on the MAC-10, unable to get anything done.
Funny goes down, but not out. And there's the peek out from Ayumi, who manages to finish off Ice, and XOP, after an expensive buy round for them, are going to lose most of their rifles.
4v2, but see how many tags are available. MBT are so low. Ying, the only person with full health. 3 players on 20 or less. This is still very winnable for the T side of XOP as they're going to start to make their presence towards A.
Yeah, they're running up towards ramp right now, but they don't want to peek out too fast. There's only 2 members of MBT on the opposite side. Neither of them are full health.
The saving grace of MBT might be the fact that there's no HEs or Molotovs left for XOP. Those kind of nades could do so much damage when you're this low on HP.
One tag is all they need to move in.
But without it, they're going to throw the utility towards A. That allows the rotations to start to come in. Yusungu going to double peek into the angle, and
that's going to be it. The MBT pick it back up.
The trade's very efficient for MBT as they start to stretch their lead on the CT side of Mirage. 8-3 the scoreline. And MBT, they want to get this one going. Pause coming in as potentially XOP have got to be trying to work out how they're going to take this one. They're back down onto the half bar. They're back down onto the pistols. They do not have a lot of cash to work with, and you can see discussion going on as these players try and work out how to break an MBT side who have looked increasingly impressive on the CT side of Mirage.
Yeah, it's mental toughness. That's what you got to do. We've seen this team turn around from a deficit before, especially on train. Can they do it again? Can they make that magic happen?
I mean, it would be quite something if they could, and it would be a treat of a CS game if they managed to make it happen here. XOP on the ropes at the moment, 8-3 the scoreline, and just looking at the replay of the work that MBT and Japan are doing in these scenarios, the double peak's so efficient on MBT. They really look like a team who are in tune with each other. The swings, the trades, they're all perfectly timed, as it will be the pistols. And
well, we know XOP have had some pretty good success on pistol rounds, so I'm definitely not going to count them out on this one.
Nice going for the early peak. Takes a little bit of Molotov damage, of course. Low ticks in the early stages, so can afford to sit in it for a little while. Down to 86 on the early peak. And
they seem to like this default, where they split 2 over by apartments, and then the rest kind of revolve between mid and palace.
Yeah, it gives you some room to breathe with the pistols, an opportunity to sort of show off that individual aim and that individual skill whilst making sure MBT aren't getting too aggressive as Ice rips the head off of Funny on towards the stairs, and that is a perfect opportunity. Ayumi's stuck in under now. Under dark, nothing she can do. She will find the frag, though. The refrag is there. There's mid-control taken, and now it's going to be a fast play. Ayumi.
Melody is going forward, but didn't quite find the damage they needed before Ayumi was actually able to clean up, and this is looking like XOP going to run out of options pretty soon.
Going to need some heroics from Ice and Nani on these Deagles if they want to have a chance of taking this round.
Ice has got one. Stack it again, Ayumi. Finish it off, so the answer there is no. It's just down to Nanny right now. Just going for some kills, try to take another rifle out and maybe pick one up for yourself. That's about it. Dancing away from those bullets, though. Ayumi just keeps it going and eventually finds purchase. That'll be the 9th win.
Stretches the lead to 6 as well. This time XOP not able to make it happen with the pistols in hand. And although they will get the rifle buy into the next round, MBT, they are building themselves up a nice buffer of rounds to head into the second half with already. No AWP available this time for XOP. Not enough cash in the bank. They're going to be going for 2 Kriegs and 3 AK-47s as the one saved AK splits the AUGs on the CT side.
All right. Once again on the default. Bomb picked up for the middle. And looks like it's Japan opening fire, and Ice and Oyamad's going to fall first. Everybody that was over by apartments dropped down, and this is a bad situation for XOP.
Oh, that mid-smoke is a risky one. It allows you to cross in towards the boxes, but spamming through it. Japan with a lovely double kill, making it look oh so simple, spamming away. I guess it's her team a 2-man advantage, which is absolutely crucial because XOP, they've dropped so much utility in that early play that realistically they have to execute towards A now. No presence anywhere on the map. And Nanny, oh, what a shot. Walks into the crosshair, but still takes the head off of Funny. So 3v4 now.
That was needed. Japan is going to be able to turn it around again. Make that 4v2. Isungu and Melali, what can they get done? Ayumi keeping guard over this site and gets dropped down, but not before trading it down to Isungu with 17 health in a 1v3. Does not dare to go out and pick that bomb up. That is certain death.
And the bomb dropped right in the middle of the site. Makes this round so much more difficult. Isungu desperately trying to find any kind of a peek. Ying should spot her out sooner rather than later. Retrieves the bomb. Makes her way in towards Sandwich. That never give away a position, though, in Japan with 4 kills in the round, 2 through smoke. MBT get themselves onto double digits, and they're looking incredibly strong on the CT side of Mirage.
10-3. This is going to be a rough half for XOP if they can't pick up these last 2 rounds, but it's going to be hard to do when you're stuck in a situation where you just can't quite get these kills. It seems like early on, MBT just start to shave their numbers down, and it's from the get-go a rough round for XOP. They do have enough money in the bank to get another buy-off, but still not enough for an AWP.
Yeah, they really have been struggling to get these opening picks, XOP. They're going to lob that same smoke in towards middle early on, mixing it up. Japan's going to make the peek through connector, and that is somewhat the success that MBT have been having. They've been mixing up how they hold CT side. They've been playing every round differently, and that's allowing XOP absolutely no information in terms of reads about how they're playing it.
And you can see they've started to shift their strategy up just a little bit. They still have at least one that was looking at apartments, that was looking at the B, but now everybody else is centered outside of mid right now.
They're going to look for this A site, execute. Everybody queued up outside the A ramp as the push starts to come in. The smoke will buy a little bit of time for MBT as the push comes through. Can Ayumi pull off a miracle again?
Funny's backing away into the smoke, and here comes the rush. Nanny and Ice going to be able to find some damage, going to be able to find a couple of picks here, but the turnaround is swift from MBT as they take down Nanny and Isungu. 3v2. Bomb's down, though.
This afterplant could be absolutely crucial. CMY has to be the instigator here. Ying not going to be of much use in a retake situation with an AWP. CT smoke locks off an angle, but nobody's there for XOP. The Molotov will force Ice out into the open, but CMY unable to capitalize, and Melali will clutch things out. 10-4. XOP looking to make it happen, looking to give themselves a chance as they head into the CT side of Mirage. One more round on the board.
They managed to save a couple of rifles and even pick up the AWP for Ice, who drops it back down. That should get picked up by Nanny. And it's, oh, maybe even hang on to it. So best position you could ask for going into the half in terms of the weapons you've gotten, but still, they need this last round to keep it at least somewhat close.
Yeah, Ice picking up the AWP, got the spawn for middle, the fastest spawn, so she's going to make her way out very early on.
And they're going to rush for apartments.
Looks like it's going to be a contact play towards B, but Ice misses the shots, and Japan, that is all too easy. The man advantage now, and this contact play towards B is being stalled by the utility of MBT.
It's like the Molotov will die down sooner or later, but now full information available for MBT. They've kind of got XOP a little trapped here as they go for the drop down once again. Sights trained, Ying's got one. And it's trades back and forth, but not in favor of MBT. 3v2 now.
Again, the bomb dropped on the site, and they haven't managed to get that plant through yet. They're waiting for some CT aggression before they try at the plant. Looking like it's going to be for the apartments, and Japan actually has the presence there. So if XOP try to exit this site, they are going to be in a lot of trouble. Nani and Melody using the utility they have to buy a little bit of time now. Smoke goes out. Nani with a beautiful headshot in towards the apartments, makes it 2 versus 2, and now it's looking a little bit one-dimensional from the CT side. Funny, still stuck on the MP7. This push out on the AUG has to work out, and Melody is going to peek right into it. 1 versus 2, and nothing they can do. 10-5 the scoreline at half. XOP, they're making this one interesting.
Yeah, they pulled that back. It's still a rough scoreline to deal with, but when they were under pressure, the Mongolian side did manage to pick those 2 rounds up needed. It would have been real rough going into the second half, 12-3.
Indeed it would have. And I mean, if you're XOP, they've recovered well from a situation that looked incredibly dire early on. And the 3 rounds they won before those last 2 of them were on pistol buys. They were not making the rifle rounds happen, but 2 rifle rounds towards the end of the half give them a little bit of opportunity as they head to the CT side.
Yeah, well, we've seen their CT definitely pick up on Train. Well, maybe they can do the same thing here on Mirage as we get ready to go back after the half. And if you are MBT.Baeters, you have to be pretty happy about how that's gone down. Even if you didn't overwhelmingly crush at the end of the half, you're still in the lead. And they have seemed like the team that's been on the top of it for most of this match. It's just been XOP picking it back up.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at these highlights, both teams have had individual players who've popped off in times and then missed shots in others, and I think that really is key. Ying here needed to get at least 1 more, and Nani just ripping the head off there makes it all too simple on that retake, and we will get into the second half pistol. And I mean, if you're XOP, you are looking to take this pistol. Give yourselves a chance, because if you give this one to MBT.Baeters again, you're giving them a few rounds on the board, and it's going to be like Train. It's going to be an awful comeback to try and make happen.
Well, they did that once before, but you're absolutely right. It looks like the commit's going to be towards A side, which for XOP, they're all over at B at the moment, trying to cover mid as well.
Playing the retake strategy in towards the A-bomb site, not going to commit to it as the nades come out. You can see Nani posted up top a ticket on CT, just drops off the angle, takes a few more shots on the way through, and
does find Japan and Ayumi. That's 1.
There we go. The bomb's down as well. The trade will be there, but it's bought time as the peak comes in, and Ayumi dropped as well.
That's a good trade if you are XOP. They've managed to take out so many members of MBT on this one to try and stop this. As you mentioned, this is what they need. 4v2. Just got to finish off Funny and Ying.
And this is a really awkward situation. You can see the T's are absolutely pinned in here. They're waiting for some kind of CT aggression, but without the bomb down, there's no need for XOP to try anything at all. They're just going to play this round how it should be played, very passively, waiting for the T side to try something. Melody up on top of the ticket box, peeking very wide in towards connector. They are conscious of the fact they've left that B bomb site a little bit open here. You can see the rotation starting to come through. The timing's good for 1 on Ling. So a 3 versus 2 now, and still trying to take that contest in towards CT.
Alive. Ying has been tagged a couple of times, but not gone down just yet. And now looking, she wants to go hunting for Yosungu, and this time stays too far out for too long. Down to Funny to try and clutch this one out. Does get Yosungu.
20 seconds left. She has to hit these shots.
Oh, almost tags up Ice for the kill. Still on 4 HP. This would be an interesting 1v1 if it came down to it.
The
peak dangerous. Ice is taken out
1v1. Oh, the shot's not
hitting.
That's it.
XOP's got it.
Oh, that was close. Somehow Funny makes it a 1 versus 1 from 3 players. Just can't hit the shots in the end. The nerves getting to her as it's clutched out for XOP.
Oh, man, that was tight.
That was seriously close. That round, if it goes the other way, MBT have got to be feeling good about their T side, but just about surviving things here as it looks like a little bit of a tech issue coming in at the moment. Players making their way.
Yeah, officials on the stage checking out some of the PCs at the moment. Ice communicating with them. This is definitely tense, and it seems like XOP, no matter what happens, it looks like it's close. We don't see them just absolutely demolishing a lot of these rounds. When they do win, it's by the skin of their teeth, but it is enough. That is enough. If you can do that consistently, you can get back into a situation where you're not too far behind the 8 ball. You can get some even stuff. We'll take a look at a few of the highlights here. Funny from the top of the box. And
that kill through smoke.
That was sweet.
And then she gets a second as well. That's absolutely insane.
Pistol highlights are some of the best.
Yeah, they are.
You just know everybody's on even footing. Oh, boy. And that was incredibly close here. All right. So into round 2. We'll take a look at that buy. Scout coming out for Nani.
P250s all that MBT can afford despite getting that bomb down. No, they didn't get that bomb down. What am I on about? No cash injection from not getting the bomb down. So 3 P250s, all they can get out. And no utility at all. They're just going to be looking to do damage against the SMGs and rifles of XOP. And Ice is peeking in towards under. A little bit of an awkward angle, and Japan will spot her out, but with only the Glock to work with, I was about to say we'll struggle to get anything done, but after she got that Glock kill in the last map, I'm not going to say that at all.
Good spread out here across both sides. We'll stand off at mid. Ayumi tags up Ice down to 50%.
Ducks down to avoid the bullets. As Ayumi's actually going to get a boost in towards the window now, looking to put the pressure on, but Ice responds. A lovely headshot. Nani gets a second, and now the P250s are left up. There's tags to work with, but they need to find shots and they need to find frags here. And this AUG from long range is looking all too easy.
That's going to be another one down. CMY. Funny turns it on to Nani, though. So they actually managed to get at least one frag out of this one. But Ying and Funny are in some trouble. XOP cleaning up.
Funny 1 versus 4 with no health to work with. Medley will get her with the MP9. Start to farm a little bit of cash with that. So 10-7. XOP within 3, and this is echoing what we saw now on train, and everybody's got to start getting a little bit nervous on that MBT side.
I can't believe XOP started off by getting crushed on CT today on Dust 2, and they've kind of made it 2 for 3 in terms of coming back on CTs. Let's see if they can continue that trend here. As another buy comes through. Another FAMAS actually being picked up.
Not a great buy either. 2 MP9s, 2 FAMASs, only one
All about
player
the utility.
getting the AUG.
All about the utility if you're XOP right now. They have been using it well to their credit, and it looks like there's going to be a rush through apartments.
Straight rush play, no messing about here from MBT. They're going to make their way out. The Molotov from Melody will do so much work here. The MP9 up close and personal is absolutely perfect.
Melody, good trade here as Japan finally finishes her off. Yusungu's going to be able to get CMY as well. Not a lot left for the T's, though. It's just going to be down to Ying with that 1 AK. Bombs dropped in the middle of the site. This should be a save situation. Maybe not, maybe. Get somebody down. Yusungu was dropped. And that's going to be it. XOP will take another round.
And that B-rush play worked perfectly into the hands of those MP9s. It gets the T-sided players up close and personal, which is where that MP9 does the best work. The full buy for MBT going down the drain as 2 saved AK-47s, 2 saved AUGs. It's absolutely perfect for XOP. They have so much money left in the bank now, saving all of those rifles. Ice even able to pick up the AWP, as we'll see MBT dropping down onto the pistols once again.
Man, we might just see this equalize at 10-all once more. Got to give credit to the Mongolian team. They are really keeping this one close here in map 3. MBT, though, keen to get a plant down. Get a little bit extra cash for themselves. They have been a little poor in the last couple rounds, but they're taking their time looking for a frag, something, anything. Japan is lit, though. Does trade with Nani.
Good damage done onto the AK-47, but the issue is that it just instantly falls back onto a new angle. Takes the shoulder peek, gets the information and falls back. He looks to use that AK's advantage at range against the MBT side as Ice misses the early shot with the AWP. Japan just playing with fire there, lucky not to get burnt as they'll make their way back round in towards the A-bomb site. And it looks like MBT are going to just try and make their way out. There's no utility to work and execute, so just going to have to hit their shots.
Yeah, I think A site makes a lot of sense. I don't think either T side has really looked all that great when they've tried to rush through apartments onto B, and looks like Ayumi is going to get tagged up, taken down by Oyamad.
And that's the man advantage as well for the CT side. XOP just going to fall back off of this. The nade a little bit too late, but out in the open. The pistol's able to find one. It's actually a team kill from CMY, and mopping up, it's just Ying left alive on 7 HP. Desperately trying to get something done, but burns alive in the Molotov of Ice, and just 1 round the difference now. XOP again looking to make this comeback happen here.
I think they're going to be able to pull it off. They've kept MBT kind of down on eco for a while now, and they will be able to get a buyout. Looks like there's another pause coming through, and I think this is going to be an MBT one.
Yeah, they've got to be thinking they have the cash this time, but they need rounds. They are yet to register a round on the T side. XOP so far doing what MBT did to them on Dust 2, and can they find something here? MBT need a little something special, and indeed it will be them calling the timeout. They need somebody to show up on that MBT side to make this happen.
And that's the question, is who? Who's going to be able to deliver? I mean, we've seen Ayumi really clutch it out in a number of situations, but you know, if you invest this round pretty heavily and then you lose it all again, you kind of get yourself back to square one in a bad situation.
Yeah, and you can see Ayumi, she hasn't bought yet. She's thinking about glass cannoning the AWP. That would be an absolutely huge investment and a lot of risk to carry with it as well. Going to opt to drop down onto the AK-47 with utility, so not willing to take that risk just yet. The buy, of course, very strong for XOP and plenty of money left in the bank as the execute towards mid comes out. First time we've really seen MBT look to pressure mid, and Melody going to get very aggressive in response. A misfired bullet might give away her plans, but still got plenty of map to work with, and the deep Molotov is going to isolate players here.
They are pushing on mid right now, trying to take the aggressive move, but Ying and Japan get dropped and trade for Melody.
And that is exactly what the CT side wanted there. They've got aggressive. Ice now has control of the mid boxes, and that completely cuts out mid from the equation. It allows this aggression coming in. They know there's no connector presence, so Nani can play wherever she likes on that A-bomb site without fear of being shot in the back. And MBT, they need something. They need a frag somewhere on this map to equalize things out and give that bomb an opportunity to get down on the A-bomb site.
That's going to be difficult to do. Right now, Nani's keeping a watchful eye over that from behind ticket box.
Ice actually has dropped off of the mid presence and made her way back down short, so this long flank from Ayumi is going to try and find Oyhamad for XOP, but she's aware of the possibility. She keeps peeking down in towards the bottom of connector, so there's still opportunity, and she's actually going to make her way through mid. Oh, this timing.
Oh, they're going to be passing like ships in the night.
That is quite some
There's the rotate back in, though. Got to watch those angles. Oh, this is tense. Oyamad is going to see that. Thrown through. Lit up and tagged. Take down CMY. Funny's going to drop as well. XOP have forced this into a single-player situation. Ayumi right in the middle, surrounded by XOP players. Bomb out of reach. Oyamad, though, peeks. And that will be the kill, but it's a turnaround. XOP equalize.
And at 10 apiece, XOP have got to be feeling good about their CT side as well. MBT yet to register around on their T side, and the economy, they're on their max loss bonus now. They've got every penny they have, and they're going to spend it instantly. AKs, UMPs across the board, but look how built up that economy is for the CT side. XOP, 3 players on 6 to 7K. They've got a rebuy in them even if a round goes south, and that's when it gets so difficult for MBT on the T side. Because even if you get that round, you've not broken XOP. They've got another full buy in the bag.
Certainly do.
Oh, they've missed the mid
like
smoke.
Split through mid. Yep, that's Japan. Tagged heavily. Not finished off yet, though.
Desperate to get mid control here, MBT. They have managed to get Ayumi in towards an aggressive position chair, but only the UMP in her hand, so not going to be able to do too much on that short peak. As MBT do get the mid control they've been looking for. Significant tag in response coming out from XOP, as now they're looking to group up the T side.
Oh, yeah. Still not picked up the bomb just yet. They're trying to gather more information or maybe take a couple of picks first.
Ayumi
won't be easy.
Trading. Ayumi dropping her UMP across onto Japan. Onto Japan, who will, on low HP, sacrifices AK-47 to the greater causes. MBT, they look like they're posturing towards the B-bomb site, but they do have a lot of presence in underpass, and a late flank from Funny in towards A.
This is interesting. Looks like the commit will be towards B, but they don't want to go for the drop down out of apartments. That's not boded well for anybody. And this doesn't bode well for MBT. Nani finds the headshot onto Ying.
Pop flash is perfect, and the peek comes in, but Ayumi not quite able to hit the shot.
They can't overwhelm. B-side, there's a chance, but the bomb gets dropped. Turns around. All of a sudden, this is a 3v2. They'll get the plant down.
2v2 as Ice takes down the late flank, and there's tags to work with, and you can see Nani knows it, drops down onto the USPS, changes it back up for the AWP for the ranged work, but so little health remaining on these two MBT players. They don't make 100 HP between the two of them. The flashes give away positions, but Ayumi uses it perfectly. Ice trades it out 1 versus 1. Japan on 11 HP has to play this perfectly, sneaking around the bomb site, and Ice, currently looking the wrong way, is going to make her way in towards the van, and nobody's spotted anybody yet. This timing is absolutely ridiculous. The nade gives away Ice's position. The Molotov, she'll burn alive in her own molly. Down to 38, but she gets it. She makes it happen. XOP get the lead for the first time. 11-10.
6 rounds, 6 wins for XOP here in the second half. And they just keep stacking it up. Ice clutching where it counted.
A key 2v1 in that situation for Ice, making it happen. Ayumi looked to have secured it with that swing peak, but not quite enough. And Of course, the maximum loss bonus means it'll be a full buy again, but what do MBT have to do? They had the afterplant, they had the 2v1, and they just couldn't convert the round.
Have to be wondering when that strain starts to kick in. MBT, they were up beating Jovial after the Dust 2 map, but things have started to sour since then. Train was a narrow loss for them. It's looking like this game is starting to slip out of hand as well. Their T side not looking nearly as strong as the CT was, and it looks like they will be moving towards A. There's a pretty light guard here. As the smoke goes down, they'll be rushing in. This is a chance to get that plant down and try and force a retake. Post plant, oh my goodness, Ying gets taken out by Nanny through the smoke. Ice is mowing him down. MBT starting to lose members once again. They do trade onto Ice, but it's not what they were hoping for.
Bomb drops in the middle of sight as well, but Ayumi out through mid gets a double kill, and suddenly the playing field is leveled. 3 versus 2, the bomb's going to go down. The spam through from Nanny not going to connect. And now the retake has to come in. Yusungu and Nanny have to pull something big up here.
Yusungu's not even there right now, has to rotate back around.
So much time lost to that rotate, making her way through Murder Hole as Japan does take down the Orpa. And now a 3 versus 1 for Yusungu. Been spotted out as well, so the flank can come in. Ayumi can hold short, and Yusungu's just going to try and escape this situation. Keep an Org alive. Dive down in towards the underpass area. It will be 11-all. MBT register their first round on the T side of Mirage, trying to give themselves an opportunity, some potential to get back into this one on the T side.
You have to be feeling at least a little bit relieved for MBT, finally able to get around on the terrorist side. And, well, XOP, they do manage to save at least 1 AUG, and they have some money to work with, as you mentioned. They'll have to start to dip into their reserves, but 11-all. This is a very close series of Counter-Strike we've had today.
Yeah, and this round is an absolute must-win for MBT. If they win this round, they force XOP back down onto the eco. You can see their loss bonus next round is only going to be $1,900, and they are fully invested here. If MBT take this, they get themselves even more of a lead. They break the economy of XOP, and that could be crucial as, again, they're setting up for the exact same thing. They're setting up for that A execute with nades. A little bit of a different setup this time with Nanny playing towards triple. Going to make her way back in towards jungle now, though, as the smokes look to go over the top.
Big split here for XOP to try and defend. If the A rush comes through, and you can see so many smokes coming down, and that's going to be the rush play. Let's see if the chaos is going to favor XOP or if it's going to favor the likes of MBT. They do lose Japan quickly on the play, and they also lose Fenny, and they can't quite get the plant down in time.
This flank again has to do so much work, but all the while the players are getting cut down on the site. Nanny with the AWP doing so much work, 3 versus 2, and they've still got that A-bomb site absolutely locked out. You can see in towards Firebox, Oyamod's just buying so much time, and CMY is aware of it. So many angles to clear, so little time to do so. They're going to look to split back in towards B here. CMY is going to get peeked from all sides, and she needs to hit her shots to perfection. She won't do so. The head is ripped off, and now a 1 versus 3. Ayumi has pulled off so many incredible clutches, but can't quite hit the shot.
XOP retake the lead 12-11 on the CT, and they managed to save 3 of their guns. You were talking about how they'd be forced onto an eco this time around. That is relieving that they managed to save so many rifles.
Yeah, they buy themselves an opportunity to take this one in the 3rd map here. The buy, of course, will still very much be in for MBT. They're on their maximum loss bonus and have been pretty much since the 3rd round of the 2nd half, so they're going to have a full buy. Will be CMY dropping down onto the Mac 10. Some compromises have to be made for XOP. Nanny is still on a USPS.
Doesn't have a lot of utility to work with either. Nanny did spend quite a lot buying ops a couple of rounds in a row.
Oh, there you go. She's actually got the AWP, it's just not showing up on the overlay. So
okay.
There we go, there's the AWP.
That feels much better. Yeah, I was going to say, that's a pretty deep scope for a USP, isn't it?
It's quite impressive. Looks like MBT
Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to play a little bit of a contact in towards the B bomb site here. Yusungu and Melody to try and counter it. They do have utility. They both have Molotovs. They both have HEs, smokes and flashes, so they can buy themselves so much time. And this tight right-hand angle's never checked. Yusungu gets one straight onto the second. That is going to be
mowing down. Great trades back and forth, but much more favoring XOP here. And it just seems the defender's advantage coming through strong, but overwhelming numbers from MBT trying to push through. Makes it a 1v2 now. But the bomb is in the wrong spot, and XOP with the final elimination for Nanny finish off the round.
13-11, XOP once again.
Within 3.
Making MBT's worst nightmares come true on the CT side of Mirage here.
I mean, how far of a change is this from the Dust 2 nightmare for XOP? After that, it started to look like this could be a 2-0 cleanup. But then, on train. XOP pick it back up. They force the game 3. They force Mirage. And now they have the lead with only so many rounds before they could take it.
Yeah, XOP perhaps showing why they were invited to this tournament. Such mental fortitude on that team. After Dust 2 going the way it did, they come back, and they come back big time on the CT side of trainers. The timeout will be from MBT. They've got to try and work out how to break the CT defense that has looked so strong for XOP.
I just feel like these rushes aren't working out well for them.
Not at all. Every time they try and rush something quickly, they've been taken down. The A execute worked once, but then it was instantly countered before it could really do any work.
Yeah. It's a little rough here, and you can tell that it's not nearly as comfortable as the likes of Dust 2, as the likes of Train. There was definitely more of a consistent execution there for MBT, but this T side on Mirage just doesn't seem quite at the same level, and they're forced into that situation. Not looking too great. Doesn't matter if you take A or B. Let's see if they take a little bit more time.
2 rounds the lead for XOP. The buy again in for MBT. They've got absolute maximum money, but they're going to be back down on the Mac 10. The AK-47s, the loss bonus, not enough to sustain full buys for them consistently. Nani wants to go for the peek in towards Connect with the ult. Misses the shot, but that baits it perfectly for Ice, who does get some damage in. Not quite able to convert for the frag, and the smokes actually missed the mid window again. MBT looking a little bit rattled here. Yeah. And they're going to peek into the AWP. Yumi able to find it.
That's going to be the advantage to push forward. Can they make it happen? Bombs picked up immediately. They start rotating towards A. Japan gets lit, though. Not taken down. Ayumi is. Ice making them pay for that play. They would be able to get a bomb plant down here. There's one watching right now. It's going to be Oyamad.
Huge nade. MBT 3v3. There's tags to both teams. Oh. MBT coming off a little bit worse for wear, though, as you can see what Ying's trying to do. Wants to get aggressive on this angle, wants to give her team an opportunity to get the bomb down, and it will be CMY going for the plant.
Gets it right now. 3v3. MBT definitely looking the worst for wear, but there's still a tag on the opposite side. XOP's Ice down to 26 health, and tense moment as Ice does get finished off, and Ying.
Missed spray, but Japan capitalizes, brings it back, and now a 2v1. Ahmad trying to make her way onto the site. There's so many angles to take. Japan on 14 HP gets a triple.
12-13, Wolfie. This one is as close as it could get.
Neither team willing to give up at this point, and the money's not there.
It's running out.
They're out of cash. They're going to be down onto the half buy or even the eco here. They could opt to force, but it's going to put them in an awful situation.
This is critical. We've seen them pretty much be able to full buy almost constantly throughout this CT side. Now we see them stuck onto an eco situation, or at least a half buy situation, and you got to wonder what they'll be able to do up against a full lineup of AKs.
Could this be the break that MBT need to get back into this one? They're queuing up for the mid presence. Couple of players in towards A while the Pistol's going to get aggressive. CMY has the bomb. She dropped the bomb. She has no idea. Ice has got the bomb. The Pistols have the bomb. Funny trying to recover the situation from Palace, but there's an AK recoverable, and there's aggression into Palace.
Funny's going to get trapped at the moment. That is going to be one finishing off Nani. And it looks like they might get flanked once again on the opposite side. Ying trying to open up. The Pistols are starting to prove pretty deadly of their own accord. Ayumi firing in. 3v2 now. XOP, they might just be able to do this. They managed to salvage one AK onto Ice. Funny turns around onto Yasengu. Gets Ice as well. And maybe they can keep this round in their favor, but that was a lot closer than it should have been.
2 versus 1. Oyamad will fancy this. He was already hit one dig in this setup. The bomb has been recovered, though, and MBT going to make their way onto that A-bomb site.
Plant.
Get the plant without any real issues, and could that be the difference maker? Oyamad manages to recover the AK-47 in a 2 versus 1. She has armor as well, so no aim punch to be concerned about. Looks like she'll be trying her retake from Connector.
All right. At least get one down. It'll be worth it. Does manage to tag up, but not before Funny turns around. Tags her in the face.
The tap's not quite on target, and we will draw level yet again. 13 apiece. The economy finally there, but XOP.
This is some tense Counter-Strike for sure.
Nobody wants to give up. Nobody wants to be the team to go down here on Mirage.
Map 3 all tied up. And man, how different can you get from the opening of this match when Dust 2 just collapsed on XOP?
They've really grown into this game. I think the first map, they looked like they weren't comfortable with the LAN environment. They looked like they weren't hitting their shots, but they've really grown into this one and given themselves a serious opportunity to go 1-0 in this bracket. The buy is a little bit weak for the CT side. Couple of MP9s out, but they've worked before, and can they work again? The mid-smoke this time going to hit its spot, as MBT are going to take control without too much contest.
does seem like they are playing a little bit more towards A side consistently now. MBT realizing that every time they tried to rush up B, it didn't quite work out for them. This information should be known by XOP, though, and you can see Ice guarding the door. Over to mid.
This
trying to collapse
is
down
huge.
around. Oh, this would be head. Oh, Ayumi tagged up by Oyamad. 5v4 now.
And this man advantage is where MBT start to look a little bit wobbly. When they lose a man, they don't look good. Ying will be able to find the refrag for one, and Japan gets the second.
What were you saying about getting a little wobbly right now? Looks like they managed to turn it around just fine. Nanny's going to get dropped in MBT. Feeling a little confident, but Oyamad is not done just yet. She will be able to take down Funny. Spraying on that AUG, and Yasungu looking for even more. Tagging up Japan, and it's down to Ying. XOP have a chance. And it's going to be 1v1, but it's a full health Yasungu.
40 HP for Ying. She's in jungle. She's just starting to make her way around now. Has to recover the bomb and has to plant it. 34 seconds left. Has a smoke and a couple of flashbangs to lock out some angles. But will she peek with the right timing? Spots out Yasungu.
Oh, ho, ho. That's the finisher. XOP again.
Not quite able to hit her shot, and it was so close yet again. These two teams are going right down to the wire every single time, but XOP once more gain themselves the narrowest of advantages. 14-13 the scoreline, and we are very definitely going the distance once more.
Yeah, we are. Oh, man. For the Mongolian side, this is huge right now. It's been such a long ride, this game. It has gone down to the wire consistently. Bai comes in. Pretty full for MBT. A couple of guns they wouldn't have liked to have otherwise, but on the opposite side, XOP feeling really good. Nanny's got her hands back on the op. And Ice just peek firing back and forth.
Just trying to make her presence known in towards middle. We've seen MBT taking this without too many issues. This time there will be a counter. Ice takes a good tag down to 58 as MBT's starting to queue up towards the A bomb site here. Funny's going to walk right into the crosshair if the timing's right.
D-scopes. Oyamad, yeah, as the smoke goes down, that would have been the difference. But the mid take here is good for MBT, only with 2. It's not full control. Here's Oyamad looking to peek around.
MBT looking to collapse onto the A bomb site here. They've dropped the smoke short. Oyamad needs to hit her shots here. Needs to take down the Palace player. She gets the damage, can't quite hit the shot, but that'll throw the smoke off. Japan takes advantage. The timing is good. 5v4 now, recovering the AUG, and Ayumi doing more and more work. And Melody on the USPS manages to hit the shot to make it 4v3. Could she have bought the time her team need before she's taken down by Japan?
That is the question. I don't think it's going to be enough to clear through here. 4v2 with the bomb plant. The retake is going to be incredibly difficult, especially with Nanny still rocking that op. Still tagged to 41 and opens up. Yasungu does fall, and Nanny will as well, and it's 14-all.
14-all. I could see this one going to overtime
Man, what a map that would be. what a series it has been. We've had everything. We've had what turned into a one-sided affair on Dust 2, an incredibly close retake on Train, and there's not a lot of money on that XOP side.
They've got to force as well. They've got to try and prevent match point, but that puts them in a situation where they're not going to have any money next round either. If they lose this,
they could lose it all.
They could lose everything. They're down onto the Deagles, the CZs, the MP9 on Nanny, the only player who manages to get anything other than a pistol, and it's a very full buy for MBT. Again, the mid-smoke misses its target, and MBT is just going to walk out.
Aggressive moves to try and defend A site. This is where MBT have gone more often than not. What a switch up it would be if they ended up going B. But that won't be the case. Oh, dear.
Oh,
Lone
again.
bomb. This does not bode well.
Again, CMY.
CMY does get one. That's a trade. That's the best you can hope for in that situation. Ying lights up Melioli.
And once again, MBT find themselves in a situation where they've got to go recover the bomb. There's presence. There's an AK on the only CT player with armor besides Ice, who's on that MP9. And you can see the rotations coming in from MBT. They've got the players starting to make their way through T-spawn. They've got to be incredibly cautious, of course, of this setup. Ice picking an off angle with that MP9, making it as easy as possible for herself to find the shot.
They might get pincered.
The timing's going to be key here. The orcs on
Ayumi. Ying manages to find Oyamad, and it looks like Ice trying to stutter step, but not quite enough. And they will pick the bomb back up. Get an easy plant on A, and the last remaining member, Yasungu, just with a CZ, not able to get anything done, and MBT are on match point.
just about making it happen. It looked like that aggression into the A ramp was going to be absolutely vital, but XOP, they lose the round, and again, their economy is absolutely on the ropes. They will be able to get a little bit more out than they did the previous round, but it's not going to be significantly more at all. Scout for Ohmad to try and find something.
Do or die time for the Mongolians. Can they pick this up and force an overtime, or after such a long journey, will we see them fall 1-2 here to the side of MBT.Baeters? I don't know how it's going to unfold. We've seen them do well on pistols, but that's usually been on a T side. And this force is rough. Oh, this is a big rush through mid.
I think somebody heard it from MBT as well, because they've moved back into spawn. They were setting up for the A execute, and almost instantly they've readjusted, put 3 players in towards top of middle, trying to shut down this aggression. Yusungu going to have to make that MP9 work at range if she wants to find anything. Pot flash from Ying. They're going to go wide on this peak. Can they hit her shots? Ying actually full blinds herself, and now they start to swing. What can the pistols and the MP9 do? The double peek, not good for the first. The trade
not good
is
for the
there.
second either. Yusungu and Melody getting dropped down. Ying is traded in the exchange, but that's not favorable for XOP.
And now the CT side, they have to gamble. They've put their 2 pistols in towards the B bomb site. They've put the scout towards A. Ohmad could be tested to her very limits here. Alone on the A bomb site with a scout as the bomb is retrieved by Japan and taken in towards A. There's still utility available for MBT if they choose to execute. They've got smokes. They could lock this A bomb site out. Ayumi alone towards B, getting a little bit aggressive, getting the information, making sure that XOP don't know where this hit's going to come from.
Taking their time about it. Still 40 seconds left to play. XOP, last chance to force an overtime. Smokes out. Looks like they'll move in with 3 of their remaining players here. Ohmad's going to start to take that first shot through smoke. Doesn't find purchase. Molotov does, though. Not a ton of damage. They're going to try to lock this out, exactly as you said, behind ticket box. Ohmad can't do a damn thing.
Bomb goes down 4 versus 3. Ayumi is perfectly placed as well to flank.
Oh,
Nanny with the headshot on the Deagle. Makes it a little bit interesting. 3v3. XOP, can they make it happen?
That is close right now. And they managed to pick up an AWP. Nanny has got this one. Ice does get eliminated. Down to 2v2. Make that 1v2. Ohmad, the last one standing, trying to hold this for XOP, and it's over! MBT will take the match.
What a showing from the qualifier team, getting insanely hyped up behind me there. And so they should. What a series between these 2 sides.
You said, would it go the distance? And we didn't get overtime, but it went quite a long ways. Hugs there. Big smiles on the face of the Malaysian squad. They will take it, but it was a hard-fought victory. And though XOP aren't happy about it, they should be proud of their performance here today.
Oh, they put in one hell of a showing across the 3-map series and showed some serious mental fortitude to make it back on that second map and take the 3rd map as far as they did. They should be very pleased with what they've achieved and look to bounce back from this one tomorrow. I mean, there's other teams to face.
It was so close. I had a hard time remembering that this is just the opening round of the Swiss, you know. These teams, the way that they're playing, the caliber, very easily could have been a playoff round, and they'll shake hands. Good sports to the end off the board, but MBT.Baeters, they take the first win in the closest round of the tournament so far. I know there's only been a couple, but it still counts.
And they get themselves so close. I mean, they only need one more win to take themselves through to the Swiss, to the finals, and that's huge.
Yeah. It's big. It's really, really big right now to see them come up with that victory, and that means all the difference. It doesn't matter how close it was because they still secured it at the end of the day, but I think XOP really proved. They're a team that you can't really take for granted. You can't take lightly. Their Dust 2 might have left something to be desired, but as they warmed up into it, we saw them play much better, not just on T side, also on CT. They had some clutch plays on pistols. This is a team that when you least expect it, they will send a shock to your system.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team with huge potential. Like, we didn't know anything about this team realistically coming into this tournament, and they've shown just what they can do against a team who had good placements at other events. They've gone absolutely huge, and I mean...
Speaking of huge, looks like that was a massive kill count there for Japan. This time around, good KD coming in, 1.63.
Yeah, you can't argue with the statistics, can you? She struggled to show up in some of the earlier maps, but really made her performance known here, and top rating, I mean, Ice, you've got to feel for her, such a performance to put in. You look at the ratings, and they're so similar.
Yeah, very close, and I think it was Japan stepping up in this particular instance, but Ice has been relatively consistent after Dust, and you see Ayumi and Nanny there on the snipers. And that one's actually pretty close as well. I mean, these two teams were well matched across the board. We keep talking about that Dust 2 round because it was the only one where there was a massive disparity.
Yeah, and I mean, in those stats, you do see the difference in that final map. Yusungu and Medley really struggling to get into it. You do appreciate that Medley took the MAC-10 a lot of the time and tried to give her teammates the potential, but it just didn't quite pay in the off in the end for XOP. And there's the stats for the team that won it. And I mean,
CMI did step it up a little bit more in that one. I really got to hand it to the entire squad, though, and Japan really leading the charge. Ayumi coming up with a respectable number of kills, matching Funny there. And there's a reason they won at the end of the day. They were just a bit better, but just a bit. I don't know how much more I can stress that because that was such a game of inches.
Yeah, it was a game where the tiniest differences meant so much to both teams. Pistol rounds that went the wrong way changed the course and the outcome of entire games. Ecos nearly came up huge for XOP. Twice they isolated the bomb with just pistols to work with and just couldn't quite finish things off. And you do wonder,
what if?
What if?
And actually, I think that's a good point. You talk about the pistol situation. I think XOP have done things on pistol rounds on Ecos that I didn't think was possible. It was a really impressive performance from them, even when their backs were against the wall. MBT, though, really critical, not just on the individual plays, but on the team play. They seemed like they were flustered. They seemed like they were phased a couple of times around, but that mental toughness comes in. They took a lot of pauses when they needed it, but it certainly seemed to pay dividends. They were able to reset and really conquer at the end where it counted.
Yeah, I think that was a really nice thing to see because in other CS you don't see teams taking the pauses as often when you think they need them. And these teams, they seemed really willing to use those pauses and they use them to great effect to recover situations, to push on in good performances, and really just to make the best of them.
Yeah, and it's one thing to try and reset yourself too, but it's also to try and cool down your opponent's lead when they're stacking wins like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw so many of these big swings across the maps, especially the last two, where there were just a massive amount of wins being stacked up by one team on one side until it could start to shift the other way, and the weight just overcame.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in a matchup this close, you can always analyze the small things, but both teams put in an insane performance. And
can't wait to see them in the rest of the tournament, man. I mean, this is just the opening day. We've only had 2 matches. We've already had one go nearly into overtime, go all the way to 3. And even that first match we saw earlier on today, that one was a lot closer than the 2-0 scoreline would indicate.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, if these games are anything to go by, this is going to be one hell of a tournament of CS. The girls are putting up a hell of a showing, and they are really showing the best of the CS that they can provide.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that these are the teams present here. This is the best in women's CSGO coming out of Asia, and they're really proving it.
Yeah, they are putting in performances. And I mean, you look at the stats from some of the players and the maps they are pulling out, the games they are having in just the first day. This can be the day where players are jet-lagged.
Yeah, they came in hot.
Yeah, they came in super hot. They were so ready for this, and it showed on the server.
Yeah, no, impressive stuff. And, I guess the server wasn't quite ready for it. We did have that little bit of a pause early on in the day. But, since then, we've really dived into it. I think we've had 5 fantastic maps of Counter-Strike across the day. I can't wait to see what the last half is going to be. We're going to get to see the Chinese teams coming in after this and really taking it. There's, of course, a team representing Singapore. We'll have all of that coming up. And, actually taking a look at the schedule, I'm going to scroll back down just to make sure I've got who is coming up next. I want to double-check on that one. And it looks like it's going to be
drumroll,
Phoenix and ZOWIE coming up after this one. So that is Singapore versus China. But, we're really on track for some fantastic games. This last one, I do want to zero in on once again. Some really stand-up performances from a couple of players, especially Ice on XOP.
Oh, yeah.
That first Dust 2 round, it just didn't really look all that good. But it looks like we're sending it off to an interview.
那我们现在首先第一个问题想问的就是在第一张图杀2的时候，其实你们看起来是有点紧张的。那你们后来是怎么做一个心态上的一个调试？
因为其实第一张图的时候，我们全部人都不习惯那个手感，所以我们全部人的枪法有点不是很准确，所以我们就开始就是有暂停一下，然后就开始抓到那个感觉，然后就慢慢开始追回分数。
So for the first map, it feels like they started out a little shaky and the nerves were setting in, and they said that they called a timeout and started adjusting and getting the feel back for the game. All right, so second question. 第二个问题就是想问说，就是一开始你们打得非常顺，甚至你有个1v2残局打得非常漂亮，然后当时你们也喊了一个暂停是对方喊了一个暂停，可是当时你们也是不停地做交流，可以跟我们说一下当时你们队里面是在怎么样沟通吗？
就当时我们就虽然他们暂停了，但是我们就一直讨论他们到底是玩慢的还是玩快的，然后我们就一直说要保持着这样的心态，就不要轻敌对方。虽然已经 追蛮多分了，但是也是不可以放下心态啊，就是一直要保持着这个心态。
For the second map, Train, they were under a lot of pressure in the beginning, but she managed to win that 1v2, and the opponent called a timeout, and I saw that they were discussing a lot within their team, and I asked what was happening, and she told me that during that time, they were discussing whether the opponent is going to play fast or play slow, and they were just adjusting their mindset and try to keep calm and just collected. And 第三个问题就是想要知道，你们打到第三张图的时候，荒漠迷城其实当时你们一开始也是领先蛮大的，就跟第二张图一样的。到甚至火车下半场的时候，你们都拿出刀开始刀人了。
对。
可到荒漠迷城下半场的时候，感觉，对方突然又开始不停的在追分。当时你们是否会有点紧张，就是有点担心第二张图的事情会再次发生？
对，我们全部都很担心，就是怕就是会给他们 come back。So 我们有一次有暂停，我就说。不要以为我们赢很多分了就可以轻敌对方什么，可能他们也会像第二张图一样 come back， 所以就一直跟他们说不要紧张，不要紧张，不要紧张这样。然后因为也可以看得出有很多 mistake， 有很多错误做到，所以就只是可以叫他们不要紧张，冷静，就玩自己的就好。
For the third question, I asked, for the third map, Mirage, it felt like they had a comfortable lead, but then. The opponent started clawing their way back. It was kind of similar story to Train, and she said that they called a timeout, and they said that they should never underestimate the opponent, and just like stick to the game plan and just keep playing the way they do. 最后一个问题，其实倒数第二个问题好了。也想知道，就是你们第一张图跟第二张图的时候，也是换了不同的人做狙击手，这个你们队里面是怎么样做一个定位？
其实我跟另外一个就是 Ayumi，两个是狙击手，但是他是比较main opper， 我是 second opper。但是如果说他那场他觉得他没有就是没有打狙击手的感觉，那我就来当 main opper， 就是我们两个会交换，一直交换做。
So I asked. Because we saw from map 1 to map 2, they had different players on the op. First map we saw Ayumi on it, and the second map we saw Ying. And I asked, what kind of roles do you guys play in this team? And it says, she told me that Ayumi is the main opper, but whenever Ayumi is not feeling comfortable, then Ying will pick it up.
Yeah.
And last question, what's the plan for the rest of the day? Because that was a really rigorous match.
You mean what's the plan for rest of the day?
Yeah. 你们接下来要
我觉
做什么？
得先就是回去先休一个息，然后就是全部人先冷静下来先，然后再看一下我们下一场对的是谁，然后再继续练习吧，一定要练习。
So after a rigorous best of 3 like that, they're going to go back and take a break, get some rest, and then they're going to keep practicing and like try to figure out who the next opponent's going to be. 我们采访也到这里结束了，那我们稍微做一下休息，等待下一场。